Chapter 133. The waiter said, "Big brother Lu, when are you coming back? I'll ask the innkeeper to keep the door open for you." Lu Ping smiled, "There's no need to. I'll probably leave after I'm done with my business. You've helped me a lot today, so I'll give this to you." When the waiter was about to thank Lu Ping was nowhere to be seen. He scratched his head and walked towards the inn alone. After taking 2 steps, the waiter's footsteps came to a halt. Then, he immediately quickened his pace and hurriedly walked toward the inn. "No matter what, I have to apply for a month's leave from the innkeeper. I don't even want this month's salary. I need to break through to the 3rd layer first." The waiter clenched the storage pouch in his hand. This was the first time he owned a storage artifact. Inside the storage pouch were 3 bottles of early blood refining realm pills and 1 bottle of mid-blood refining realm pills. Other than that, there were also 100 low-grade spirit stones. These were things that Lu Ping could give away casually, but to the waiter, they were a huge fortune. After the waiter's explanation, Lu Ping had a good understanding of the streets of Autumn Cloud Island. Lu Ping pretended to be strolling on the streets, but in reality, he was tailing behind 2 cultivators dressed in black robes and wearing cloaks. On the way back to the inn, Lu Ping constantly spread out his divine sense to monitor the surroundings, out of the lessons he learned from his life and death experiences. Unexpectedly, this precautionary measure yielded an unexpected discovery. Lu Ping used his powerful divine sense to avoid the detection of the 2 cultivators. At the same time, he discovered their identities. These 2 cultivators left a deep impression on Lu Ping. Both of them were from the Overflowing Seas gang. One was the red-robed hall master from the Raging Seas gang that Lu Ping had just met. The other was the late blood condensation realm expert from the Overflowing Seas gang that chased after Lu Ping 5 years ago. That pursuit caused Lu Ping to suffer heavy losses. It took him almost a year to recuperate. The 2 of them were also extremely cautious. They turned a few streets in a row, and occasionally split up to look behind each other to prevent being followed. If it weren't for the fact that Lu Ping's divine sense was far superior compared to theirs, he would have been discovered long ago. Even so, this allowed Lu Ping to witness how cultivators who had survived through a sea of blood could ensure their own safety. Due to that, Lu Ping felt that he had benefited greatly from it. 2 hours later, the 2 of them finally arrived at the back door of a manor. The 2 of them nodded at the cultivators who were setting up stalls on both sides of the street. The cultivators there shook their heads, indicating that they were not being followed. Next, the 2 of them flashed into the manor. However, the 4 of them did not notice that long before the 2 from the Overflowing Seas sect arrived, a young cultivator had already arrived at a stall outside the manor. He was haggling over a mid-grade spiritual material with the cultivator who set up the stall. When he saw the 2 enter the manor, the young man shook his head regretfully. In the end, he gave up on buying the spiritual material and turned to leave. To be able to build such a huge manor in the middle of the city square, other than the local tyrant of Autumn Cloud Island, the Chiu family, who else could it be? Lu Ping casually tipped a waiter 10 spirit stones at a tea house not far from the manor. He then asked the waiter to find a seat by the window on the neighboring street. Lu Ping brewed a pot of mid-grade spiritual tea and enjoyed the storyteller's Legend of the North Sea Immortals in the tea house. He was in a leisurely mood. Nearly 2 hours later, the sky had darkened. The 2 cultivators who entered the manor finally walked out one after another. After paying the bill, Lu Ping continued following behind the 3 nonchalantly, relying on his divine sense to keep an eye on the 2 of them from afar. The 2 of them left Autumn Cloud Island and flew eastward for several hundred kilometers. Then, they landed on a desolate island where not even a single blade of grass grew. The late blood condensation cultivator from the Overflowing Seas sect who chased after Lu Ping said, "Senior Brother Hong, I'll be sending you off here. Take care." The leader of the Fury Sea Hall, Senior Marshal Brother Hong, looked tired. He cupped his hands and said, "Junior Marshal Brother Yuan, I'll leave the Fury Sea Hall to you this time." It's all because of my incompetence that I fell into the demonic beast's trap. Our Fury Sea Hall had 100 good men, but only 30 of them managed to escape. This time, when we return to the palace, we still have to be punished in public. I really don't have the face to go back and see Master. Junior brother Yuan saw senior brother Hong's agitated expression and quickly comforted him. Senior brother Hong, you don't have to be like this. Who would have thought that the demonic beasts would be so cunning? It's already good enough that you managed to protect 30 of your brothers after the battle with the North Sea cultivators. If it were me, I might have been completely annihilated. Senior brother Hong said, you don't have to comfort me, junior brother. It's not like you didn't see that old bastard Chiu Yuantian's face just now. He clearly pushed all the blame for the defeat to me and reported it to the palace. The palace removed my position as the Fury Sea Hall's leader. Although it sounded nice on the surface, it was actually to punish me. Junior brother Yuan also chimed in, that old bastard Chiu is really a vile person. Back then, he was the one who strongly approved of senior brother setting up an ambush at the pirates' treasure vault and ambushing the North Sea cultivators. Now that you've been ambushed by the demonic beasts and even his grandson died, he's not admitting it. He even pushed all the blame for his grandson's death onto senior brother. His Chiu family has been in the North Sea for too long and doesn't know that you're from the palace. I think this demonic beast ambush was clearly the Chiu family colluding with the North Sea sects to break away from the palace and establish their own sect. Senior brother Hong shook his head and said, Junior brother, be careful with your words. These words are just us brothers venting our anger and must not be spread. Not to mention that the Chiu family can't and won't dare to establish their own sect, the Chiu family still has that person in the palace. If junior brother's words are reported to the palace, then even Martial Uncle Yuan won't be able to protect you. Junior brother Yuan knew that he had said the wrong thing and immediately smiled awkwardly. Senior brother, don't worry and return to the palace. With Martial Uncle Tsin around, even if the palace wants to punish senior brother, it won't be too severe. Moreover, senior brother has made quite a few contributions in the North Sea these past few years. The elders in the palace will definitely take note of it. Senior brother Hong nodded and said, in that case, I'll leave the Raging Sea Hall to you, junior brother. During this period of time, focus on recuperating and restoring your strength. Don't fight over the merits. First, the cultivators from the North Sea sects have increased their vigilance. Second, we don't want to fall into someone's trap. Junior martial brother Yuan naturally knew who senior martial brother Hong was referring to. He smiled and said, don't worry, senior martial brother. My cultivation and ability are not as good as senior martial brothers. I can be a mediocre hall leader. Senior brother Hong nodded and pressed down on a spot on the island's shore. Suddenly, the center of the island sank soundlessly. 2 7th-layer blood condensation realm cultivators leaped out from the sunken ground and shouted in a low voice, who is it? Junior brother Yuan stretched out his hand and took out a hexagonal jade token. He said, the overflowing sea gang's Raging Sea Hall leader, Yuan Shikong, has been ordered to escort the former hall leader, Hong Shikue, back to the palace. The two men verified the token and found that there were no mistakes. One of them said, the teleportation array is ready. There will be someone on the other side of the array to receive you. However, in order to fool people, the destination is quite far away from the palace. Senior brother Hong signaled that he understood. The two men who appeared later arrived at the center of the island that had already been flattened. There was a large-scale teleportation array that was about 30 meters wide. The two men waved their hands, and a total of 49 mid-grade spirit stones were embedded in different parts of the array. At that moment, junior martial brother Yuan placed the jade card in his hand in the center of the teleportation array. After senior martial brother Hong stood in the middle of the array, the two cultivators simultaneously activated the array. A faint light flashed and senior martial brother Hong disappeared from the array. Junior brother Yuan nodded at the two cultivators, turned around, and went back the way he came. The island shook soundlessly before returning to its original state. The two cultivators also disappeared. A moment later, a huge sea turtle suddenly rose from the sea about a kilometer away from the island. Lu Ping sat on it, deep in thought. Such a huge array, 36 mid-grade spirit stones, and only one person could be teleported. This was clearly a long-distance teleportation array. Could it be that the palace that Heng Shikue wanted to go to was not in the North Sea? In that case, the Overflowing Seas gang should be a faction that the mysterious palace sent to the North Sea. There was also the Chiu family, the core forging enlightened masters, and Fa Xiang Laozu's in action. All of these seemed to prove something. Lu Ping continued to pursue the lone Yuan Shikong with many questions in his mind. Lu Ping wanted to kill Yuan Shikong along the way. Even though Yuan Shikong was an 8th layer blood condensation realm expert, Lu Ping had fought with him when he was only at the 3rd layer. In the end, Lu Ping only managed to escape with heavy injuries. However, this also allowed Lu Ping to see Yuan Shikong's true strength. Even though Yuan Shikong was an 8th layer blood condensation realm expert, Lu Ping believed that Yuan Shikong was far from being a match for the 7th layer blood condensation realm primordial crocodile that died in his hands. However, Lu Ping was worried that if Yuan Shikong died, the Overflowing Seas gang and the Chiu family would definitely be alerted. There was an 80% to 90% chance that the teleportation array on the island would be destroyed. This teleportation array was the only clue leading to the mysterious palace behind the Overflowing Seas gang. Lu Ping's intuition told him that this teleportation array had a great use. Lu Ping followed Yuan Shikong back to the Chiu family's manor. Along the way, Lu Ping resisted the urge to kill Yuan Shikong. Just as Lu Ping was about to leave, he discovered that Yuan Shikong had left the Chiu family's manor alone. This time, he was heading north. Lu Ping was overjoyed and slowly followed behind Yuan Shikong. Yuan Shikong was clearly not as vigilant as before. Perhaps it was because he had just completed a mission. Yuan Shikong's speed was extremely slow. Just as the sky was about to brighten, Yuan Shikong finally saw a small island a few li ahead of him. Yuan Shikong picked up his pace. Right at this moment, a gust of wind blew behind Yuan Shikong's head. Without thinking, he lowered his head, and a hexagonal translucent shield suddenly appeared above his head. A pair of green claws grabbed onto the slippery shield, leaving behind an ear-piercing screech. Following that, a loud screech could be heard. After missing its attack, a huge azure phoenix flapped its wings and flew into the sky. Just as Yuan Shikong lowered his head and raised his shield, two of the waves on the surface of the sea suddenly splashed higher, transforming into a pair of flying swords that slashed towards Yuan Shikong. Yuan Shikong's mouth curled into a cold smile. It's just a diversion. Yuan Shikong's lowered body shook, and two dart-like mystic instruments shot out, knocking the soaring swords off course. Just as Yuan Shikong was about to spread out his divine sense to search for the hidden killer, a sharp killing intent had already rushed towards Yuan Shikong's back. The dense cold chi made him truly understand what it meant to feel as if there was a dagger on one's back. A top-grade mystic instrument. Yuan Shikong cried out in shock. Chapter 134. A top-grade magic tool. Yuan Shikong was shocked. He hurriedly placed the hexagonal crystal shield on his back and channeled his arcane energy into it. However, it was too late. The top-grade flying sword pierced through the shield he hastily put behind him. Then, the protective aura around the late blood condensation realm was also torn apart. Fortunately, the two layers of protection delayed the Qinghan sword's attack. Yuan Shikong dodged quickly and managed to avoid being hit in his vital organs. His abdomen was cut in half, but his life was not in danger. Yuan Shikong raised his hand towards the sky without hesitation. A blinding red light shot into the sky and exploded in the air. This was a signal for help. Yuan Shikong turned around and saw a young cultivator standing on a giant turtle swimming towards him. "It's you!" Yuan Shikong exclaimed. How could this young man not leave a deep impression on him? 5 years ago, a third-layer blood condensation realm cultivator escaped from his hands, making him the laughingstock of the overflowing sea gang. Lu Ping smiled at the shocked Yuan Shikong. Yuan Shikong's heart turned cold when he saw Lu Ping's strange smile. He looked up and saw a giant metal seal smashing down from the sky. How is this possible? Yuan Shikong's face turned pale. He couldn't believe that a fifth-layer blood condensation realm minor repairs warrior could use a top-grade magic tool and 2 high-grade magic tools at the same time. How much arcane energy did he have to support this? Suddenly, a crystal bowl appeared in Yuan Shikong's hand. He lifted the bowl and a gush of seawater shot out from the bowl. The seawater turned into a giant hand in the air and firmly held landslide in the air. However, Yuan Shikong's arcane energy was overloaded and he was already injured by Lu Ping, so he coughed out a mouthful of blood. So this person also has a top-grade magic tool. Lu Ping looked at the crystal bowl in Yuan Shikong's hand and smiled playfully. However, this crystal bowl was clearly refined by him not long ago. He hasn't fully mastered it yet. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to use it so forcefully. The Qinghan sword turned around and slashed at Yuan Shikong's arm that was holding the crystal bowl. Yuan Shikong's arm shook, and a stream of water flowed out from the crystal bowl, causing the Qinghan sword to deviate from its course. However, the stream of water that was dragging landslide along started to sway due to the lack of transcendence energy. Yuan Shikong's transcendence energy surged, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Let's see how much blood you can shed. Lu Ping saw that Yuan Shikong no longer had the strength to fight back. He could only use the top-grade magic weapon in his hand to block the Qinghan sword's attacks. At this moment, the figures of 2 cultivators suddenly rose from the miniature island a few miles away and flew in the direction of the battle between Lu Ping and Yuan Shikong. Yuan Shikong's face lit up. Lu Ping immediately understood that the other party's reinforcements were about to arrive. That small island must be the secret base of the Wrath Ocean clan. It might even be the base of the overturned Ocean clan. At this moment, Lu Ping was almost at his limit using a top-grade magic tool and a high-grade magic tool. He saw that Yuan Shikong could only passively defend under his sneak attack, and it was only a matter of time before he died. However, he did not expect the other party's reinforcements to arrive so quickly. Lu Ping cursed inwardly. He used his right thumb to cut his index finger. Blood immediately flowed out of his index finger, and 3 mid-grade needle-shaped magic tools appeared in Lu Ping's right hand. Lu Ping raised his right hand, and the 3 bloody flying needles headed straight for Yuan Shikong's chest. Yuan Shikong panicked. He gritted his teeth and used the crystal shield, which had already been pierced by the Qinghan sword, to block the needles. The 3 flying needles collided with the crystal shield and exploded, completely destroying the already damaged crystal shield. Fragments of the magic tool flew everywhere. Although Yuan Shikong tried his best to dodge the needles and even split the water in the crystal bowl to form a water shield to protect himself, his body still suffered 4 to 5 wounds from the explosion of the magic tools. Just as Yuan Shikong was secretly rejoicing that he had dodged the attack, 2 silent soaring swords suddenly flew out from the seawater behind him. The 2 swords intersected, and before Yuan Shikong realized it, his body had already been cut into 3 pieces. Stop! How dare you! At this moment, the 2 late blood condensation cultivators from the overturned Ocean clan were already within reach of Yuan Shikong, but they could not stop Yuan Shikong's death in time. Lu Ping looked mockingly at the 2 newcomers. He took Yuan Shikong's interspatial pouch and mystic instrument and landed on the blue wand's back. Lu Qin let out a long cry, flapped her wings, and flew a few hundred feet away in the blink of an eye. The 2 overturned Ocean clan cultivators tried their best to catch up to Lu Ping, but as Lu Qin flapped her wings, the distance between them grew larger and larger. In the end, the 2 overturned Ocean clan cultivators could only sigh helplessly as they disappeared into the horizon. On the other hand, Lu Ping was happily fiddling with the crystal bowl he obtained from Yuan Shikong. This top-grade mystic instrument was called the Frost Jade Glaze Bowl. It was a top-grade mystic instrument forged from a single piece of frost jade. It was very suitable for Lu Ping to use, but its only flaw was that although it could be used for both offense and defense, it wasn't very good at either. There was also the token that Yuan Shikong had shown when he had activated the teleportation array. On one side of the hexagonal jade token, there was a shining palace, and on the other side, there was a surging sea. The huge waves were holding up a large seal character, Nu. As for the other spirit stones and magic tools, Lu Ping casually threw them into his storage ring. After all, he was a late blood condensation cultivator. His wealth was still considerable. Among them, there was a wonder pill recipe that interested Lu Ping. He could study it when he returned. Lu Ping rode on the Green Phoenix and headed east. After a few hundred miles, he turned north. Along the way, Lu Ping would stop at a small island and buy some goods from the island's marketplace. A month later, Lu Ping had passed through dozens of islands, including the territories of the Jade Sword sect and the ancient Ling sect. Finally, he returned to Jinling. On a small island called Black Lightning Island, Lu Ping showed the cultivator stationed on the island his identity token of Jinling. Through the teleportation array on the small island, he arrived at Earth Star Island, one of the 36 medium-sized islands in Jinling. In the marketplace of Earth Star Island, Lu Ping bought 500-year-old spiritual herbs from the shops that sold spiritual herbs as usual. After spending a few thousand spirit stones, he arrived at Earth Star Island through the teleportation array. Only medium-sized islands and above in Jinling could be connected to each other. The teleportation array on a small island could only be connected to a medium-sized island. 5 years later, Earth Star Island had become even more prosperous. The entire marketplace had expanded by a third. There was an endless stream of cultivators in the marketplace. Occasionally, core forging enlightened masters could be seen flying in the sky. When Lu Ping returned to Huangli Island, although he was prepared, he was still surprised by the huge changes on Huangli Island. Lu Ping didn't stop and flew directly to his cave abode at the center of the island. 5 years had passed. He didn't know how his cave abode had changed. He didn't know if the spiritual vein in the cave abode had been discovered. However, before he left, he had embedded 108 middle-grade spirit stones into the ice river killing array's array disk. It was enough for the array to run for 10 years. Of course, this was under the condition that the array was not attacked. As he got closer to the cave abode, Lu Ping looked at the light blue array shield that was still running. He felt relieved. Fortunately, the cave abode has not been invaded. At this moment, Lu Ping frowned and stopped. He slowly came to a small forest in front of the entrance of the cave abode. Lu Ping spread out his spiritual sense, which was nearly 100 feet wide. The scene that was happening in front of his cave abode was coincidentally seen by Lu Ping. Hu Lily, don't think that you are so great just because you have Lu Ziyuan supporting you. Lu Ping has been missing for 5 years. To put it nicely, he has died outside. His body has probably been devoured by demonic beasts. According to our sect's rules, if a cultivator has been missing for more than 5 years, the sect has the right to take back the cave abode. Are you trying to stop us? Are you flouting our sect's rules? The person who spoke was Li Yu, Li Ziming's son. After 5 years, he had also advanced to the 3rd level of the blood condensation realm. The 2 people beside him were also old acquaintances of Lu Ping. One was Li Cheng, who was now at the 4th level of the blood condensation realm. The other was Lin Sheng, who was also at the 5th level of the blood condensation realm. Enemies really do meet. Lu Ping looked at the 3 of them. They were standing in front of his cave abode with 6 or 7 Jinling disciples. They were all holding magic tools in their hands. It seemed like they were going to break the ice river killing formation by force. The person standing in front of them was Hu Lily. Beside her were Chen Lian and Lu Ping's shopkeeper, Fang Tao. After several years, Hu Lili had broken through the mid-stage blood condensation realm and reached the 4th level of the blood condensation realm. Chen Lian, on the other hand, had reached the 6th level of the blood condensation realm. His cultivation speed had finally surpassed Lu Ping's. There was nothing he could do about it. The difficulty of cultivating the North Sea wave listening technique left Lu Ping speechless. Hu Lili sneered. Li Yu, don't think I don't know what you guys are thinking. Although the sect has its rules, many of our disciples have gone out to explore beyond the designated time limit. It doesn't mean that the sect is in a hurry to take back their cave abode. Not to mention, Lu Ping's cave abode is outside of Tianling Mountain. You guys are just jealous of Lu Ping's cave abode. At this moment, Li Qing spoke up. Senior Marshal Sister Hu, what you said is unreasonable. We're just following the sect's rules. We're not targeting Senior Marshal Brother Lu Ping. After all, he's been missing for more than 5 years. Out of respect for Senior Marshal Sister Hu and Master Immortal Lu, we've already delayed the matter for more than half a year. We can't just leave the cave abode idle, can we? Besides, after the cave abode is taken back, the sect will own it. How can you say that we're jealous? Hu Lili was so angry that she couldn't say anything. Chen Lian said, since you guys are following the sect's rules, why didn't you guys come to take back the cave abode when Master Immortal Lu was around? Now that Master Immortal Lu has brought Yao Yong, Du Feng, and Zhong Jian to patrol the sea, you guys can't wait to take back the cave abode. What a joke. Chen Lian's words made the 3 of them blush. Li Yu simply said, let's not care about that. Anyway, we have a reason to follow the sect's rules. Let's destroy the cave protection array first. After saying that, he waved at the blood condensation cultivators behind him. Everyone took out their mystic instruments and prepared to attack. Suddenly, a mocking voice sounded. Ha, so everyone knows that I'm going home today. That's why you all came to visit me. What a coincidence. Unfortunately, my cave abode isn't big enough to accommodate Junior Marshal Brother Li, Junior Marshal Brother Lin, and all of you. Chapter 135. When the voice was heard, everyone looked towards the direction of the grove. Li Yu and the other 2 looked as if they had seen a ghost. Li Yu exclaimed, Lu Ping. How could you not die? As soon as the word, die, came out, Li Cheng and Lin Sheng coughed at the same time. Li Yu's panicked expression disappeared and he swallowed the rest of his words. Lu Ping was not angry when he heard this. He continued to smile and said, what? Does young Master Li know that I, Lu Ping, will die without a doubt? Li Yu also knew that he had said something wrong. He quickly forced a smile and said, how could that be? We were just too surprised that you were gone for so long. We thought that Junior Brother Lu had forgotten about your mission to secretly investigate the pirates. Lu Ping's expression changed. Lin Sheng saw that the atmosphere was not right. He quickly pulled Li Yu and Li Cheng and said, since Senior Brother Lu has returned safely, there is no need to take back the Immortals' cave mansion. You have saved us a lot of trouble. Junior brothers, let's go back first. Li Yu and Li Cheng also came to their senses. They casually said their goodbyes and turned towards Huangli Island's marketplace. Lu Ping leisurely said, you are plotting against this one's Immortals' cave mansion. You can come and go as you please. Do you really think that Lu Ping is easy to bully? The people who were about to leave stopped when they heard this. Li Yu was a hot-headed person. He directly said angrily, Lu Ping, don't be so shameless. Do you really think that we won't smash your Immortals' cave mansion today? Lu Ping sneered and said, you are so awe-inspiring. Then Lu Ping will have to experience your methods. Everyone was stunned when they heard Lu Ping's words. Hu Lili quickly said, let's wait for Master Immortal Lu to come back first. After all, they have the numbers advantage. Lu Ping looked at the 7 cultivators who came with the 3 of them. Among them, 3 were mid-blood condensation cultivators. Including Li Cheng and Lin Sheng, there were 5 mid-blood condensation cultivators. Lin Sheng and one of them was at 5th layer blood condensation while the other 5 were early blood condensation cultivators. Lu Ping smiled and said, "It's fine. You can all come at me together." Lu Ping was blatantly looking down on them. The 10 cultivators looked ashamed and angry. Li Yu was even angrier and shouted, "Lu Ping, you're courting death. Don't blame others for it." He turned to the others and said, "Since they are looking down on us, there is no need for us to be polite. Let's attack together." The crowd cast out their mystic instruments and attacked Lu Ping. Even the arrogant Lin Sheng and Li Cheng also held their mystic instruments in their hands. However, they didn't attack together with the crowd. Instead, they were waiting to see if Lu Ping could withstand the crowd's attacks. If he could, they wouldn't need to fight. But if he couldn't, they wouldn't be accused of bullying others with numbers. Lu Ping saw the 2 of them taking out their magic tools and knew what they were planning. Today, Lu Ping wanted to teach them a lesson and establish his dominance on Huangli Island. Of course, he would not let them succeed. Lu Ping cast the Great River Flowing East Sword skill, and crushed the 8 cultivators' attacks with an unstoppable momentum. The soaring wing swords didn't stop there. Instead, it turned into a torrent of water that flowed down from the sky and swept the 10 cultivators, including Li Cheng and Lin Sheng, into it. It was as if the 10 cultivators were swept away by a river made of sword rays. When the 10 cultivators finally broke free from the sword light, they realized that 2 of their mid-grade magic tools had been destroyed by Lu Ping. The remaining 8 were also sent flying. For a moment, the crowd couldn't accept such a huge defeat. They shouted in unison, either recalled their mystic instruments or took out their backup mystic instruments. Once again, they surrounded Lu Ping and attacked him. Previously, they were holding back because they had the advantage in numbers, but this time, they were going all out. Lu Ping's attitude finally became serious. However, Lu Ping had defeated a late blood condensation realm primordial giant crocodile. There was no suspense in his victory. The soaring sword suddenly turned into 2 intersecting light balls and shot out 36 swords at the incoming magic tools, causing the cultivators' attacks to miss again. This time, Lu Ping did not hold back. After the 2 light balls repelled the cultivators' magic tools, they rolled towards the cultivators and shot out another 64 sword lights. Li Cheng, Li Yu, and the other cultivators were caught off guard. Some of the weaker early blood condensation cultivators had their defensive magic tools and spells destroyed by Lu Ping. Lin Sheng and the other mid-blood condensation realm cultivators fared slightly better. They used all their strength to dodge Lu Ping's sword rays, but before they could even straighten their backs, Lu Ping casually pointed his finger at them. The 2 light orbs trembled again and another 64 sword rays shot out from them. This time, not only the early blood condensation cultivators, but even Lin Sheng and the others were shocked by Lu Ping's strength and killing intent. At the same time, a powerful divine sense circled around them, locking on to the 10 cultivators' Qi. Just when everyone was ready to scream in their hearts, they did not feel the pain of a sharp blade piercing into their bodies as they had imagined. Just when everyone was at a loss, they suddenly felt a sharp pain on their buttocks. The huge impact sent all 10 of them flying and rolling on the ground. At the same time, the huge pain on their buttocks made everyone cover their buttocks with their hands and howl in pain. Everyone's buttocks had a long sword scar on them. Li Yu and the others struggled to stand up. They looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Then, they glared at Lu Ping with hatred. Without saying a word, they turned around and led the others away. Lu Ping grinned and turned around to look at Hu Lili, Chen Lian, and Fang Tao. He noticed that the 3 of them also looked like they had seen a ghost. Lu Ping smiled and asked, "Why? Even the 3 of you believe that I died overseas?" Fang Tao panicked and repeatedly said that he did not dare to believe it. Chen Lian smiled bitterly and said, "Junior brother has been missing for 5 years. I thought I could finally show off my cultivation speed. But I didn't expect that even though my cultivation level has caught up, my strength is still far behind. Hu Lili nodded in agreement and said, 1 against 10, junior brother is going to become famous soon. Lu Ping sighed and said, if you had been in a state of constant fighting with demonic beasts for the past 5 years, I believe your strength would have improved by leaps and bounds. Chen Lian shrugged and did not say anything. Lu Ping came to the cave residence and cast a few spells. The ice river killing array suddenly opened up a path. It was not the first time that Chen Lian and Hu Lili came to Lu Ping's cave residence. After they entered, they were more casual. Lu Ping asked the 3 of them to sit down and brewed a pot of spirit tea. Chen Lian asked for a pot of the 100 spirit wine brewed by Lu Ping and drank alone. Hu Lili quickly asked Lu Ping about the past 5 years. Lu Ping gave a general explanation. Naturally, there were many omissions. After Chen Lian heard it, he slammed the table and said, sure enough, someone leaked your whereabouts. It must be Li Ziming and his son and that Lin Sheng. I say, after junior brother didn't return at the appointed time, that Li Yu couldn't wait to jump out and spread the news that you might have died overseas. He even took away your spirit grain field to cultivate. At the same time, he is still thinking about the pill and talisman pavilion that junior brother opened. Junior brother has been missing for 5 years, and this father and son pair proposed to take back your cave residence. Lin Sheng and Li Cheng also secretly helped them. If it wasn't for Immortal Master Lu suppressing this matter, these people would have already broken into the ice river killing array. Lu Ping was actually prepared for the spirit field to be taken away. However, when he heard that these people were still thinking about his cave residence, he felt a little strange and asked, the spirit field and the shop are not strange, but why are they thinking about my cave residence? When cultivators go out, they usually don't put their valuables in the cave residence, unless it is a secret cave residence. When Chen Lian heard this, he glanced at Hu Lili. Hu Lili tidied her hair and said, let me say this. In the 5 years that you were gone, several spots of spiritual energy suddenly appeared on Huangli Island. Now, the spiritual fields on the island have increased from 6 to 7 mu to 14 mu. The increase in these spots of spiritual energy naturally attracted the attention of the cultivators who were originally stationed on the island. This situation could only mean that there was a spirit vein on the island that was at least at the micro level. However, everyone searched the entire Huangli Island. They even searched the surrounding several kilometers of sea, but they still came up empty-handed. In the end, everyone directed their suspicions towards the only place that had not been searched, your immortal's cave. The Li family's father and son even started a rumor that no wonder you didn't open a cave residence on Tianling Mountain. So it turns out that you have already found a place with good feng shui. When the 5 years were up, the father and son gathered Lin Sheng, Li Cheng, and a few cultivators who were affiliated with their family to demand that your cave residence be taken back according to the sect's rules. Fortunately, Master Immortal Lu came to Huangli Island after you left and is now one of the Master Immortals in charge of Huangli Island. He is also in the 9th layer of the Blood Condensation Realm and is about to advance to the Core Forging Realm. With his protection, these people usually don't dare to go too far. Recently, Master Immortal Lu brought Yao Yong, Du Feng, and the other junior martial brothers to patrol the sea, but these people took the opportunity to break into your cave residence. Fortunately, you came back in time. Otherwise, senior martial brother Chen Lian and I wouldn't have been able to stop these 10 people. Lu Ping sneered and said, a bunch of clowns. Then, he stood up and led Hu Lili, Chen Lian, and Feng Tao through the living room to the fake cultivation room that Lu Ping had opened up. On the back wall of the cultivation room, there was a stone door with a few spirit sealing talismans that Lu Ping had made. Lu Ping waved his hand to remove the spirit sealing talismans, and a faint spiritual energy spread out. Lu Ping turned around and smiled at the 3 of them. He stretched out his hand and pushed the stone door open. Immediately, the sound of flowing water came from inside, and at the same time, a dense spiritual energy rushed out, making the 3 people behind Lu Ping exclaim in their hearts. The situation inside the mountain hadn't changed much. Only the spiritual grass garden that Lu Ping had opened up on the flat ground where the spring water had emerged from had grown verdant and lush. The two spirit-gathering pearls that Lu Ping had buried in the spirit vein had completely fused with the spirit vein. Now, Lu Ping's cave residents had gathered 4 miniature spirit veins. At this moment, Feng Tao had a dumbfounded expression. Chen Lian also had a look of surprise and said, "It turns out that Junior Brother's place is really a different world." Only Hu Lily might have guessed it, but she didn't expect the spiritual energy inside to be so dense. This was definitely not the level that a miniature spirit vein could reach. Chapter 136. Lu Ping's return did not bring about any commotion on Huangli Island. However, it caused quite a commotion among the blood condensation cultivators on Jinling Island. 1 against 10, Lu Ping easily defeated Li Yu and the others. These people had long heard that Li Ziming and Lu Ping did not get along well. Now, however, they had completely fallen out. Then, news spread that Lu Ping was attacked while scouting the pirates. The pirates personally admitted that they already knew about Lu Ping's whereabouts. At that time, only a small number of cultivators knew that Lu Ping had secretly gone to the sea. It just so happened that the one who came up with the idea and urged Lu Ping to go to the sea was none other than Li Ziming. This time, even if Li Ziming had a mouth, he would not be able to explain himself. Just as everyone was looking forward to the next development of the situation, Lu Ping was either going back and forth between the 3 shops or staying in his own cave mansion under the cliff at the center of Huangli Island. As for Li Yu and the others, they no longer showed themselves in public. Even when they were patrolling the island, they also took a leave of absence. Both sides had come to a mutual understanding. Lu Ping had been very busy these past few days. For the past few years, Hu Lily had been helping him manage the shop he opened in the market. Without the talismans and medicinal pills crafted by Lu Ping, the profits of the pill and talisman pavilion had dropped significantly. However, with Hu Lily's help, Feng Tao had been able to purchase a large number of items from Dikuan Island and sell them in the pill and talisman pavilion. After 5 years, they had earned tens of thousands of spirit stones. Naturally, Lu Ping did not care about this small amount of spirit stones. After giving half to Hu Lily, Feng Tao followed Lu Ping's instructions to purchase spiritual herbs that were 500 years old and above. After dealing with the matters of the pill and talisman pavilion, Lu Ping went to look around Hu Lily's shop. Then, he went to Chen Lian's artifact crafting shop. At present, Chen Lian's artifact refinement skill could be said to be famous amongst the cultivators of Huangli Island. Chen Lian's family had a long history of learning and he was also a disciple of Jinling, a core forging stage artifact refinement master, Sage Enigma Flame. Absorbing the strong points of both sects, the quality of the high-grade and mid-grade magic artifacts refined by him was excellent. Thus, he was now the #1 artifact refinement master in the seas of Profound Flower Island and Profound Qi Island. When Lu Ping found Chen Lian had just refined a high-grade defensive artifact, the Spirit Stale Stone. Seeing Lu Ping enter, he directly threw the Spirit Stale Stone to Lu Ping and said, "Take a look, how's the refining?" Lu Ping took a look. This spirit stale stone was refined using the spirit stale soil provided by Lu Ping. The entire stone was like a Rubik's cube. Although it was only the size of a palm, when encountering an enemy, as long as one channeled their arcane energy into it, the spirit stale stone would expand into a thick spirit stale wall, blocking all threatening attacks for the cultivator. Lu Ping carefully inspected the smelting temperature and the details of the formation engravings. He said, "Really good. I didn't expect you to be able to refine high-grade magic artifacts so easily." Chen Lian smiled proudly and said, "This is a defensive magic artifact that Niu Dazhuang asked me to refine for him." Niu Dazhuang had just broken through to the mid-stage blood condensation realm. Originally, using a high-grade magic artifact would be quite difficult for him. Unfortunately, he was forced into a corner by this fellow. This time, the spirit stale soil you left for him has been used up. Lu Ping smiled indifferently and said, "It's fine. If there's nothing left, I'll just dig for more." "Oh right, how confident are you in refining a top-grade magic artifact?" Chen Lian said, "You're talking about the landslide, right? You've had that second-grade deep-sea silver iron for quite some time now. With your strength, I'm afraid you can already use a top-grade magic artifact." Chen Lian saw Lu Ping nodding and continued, "I'm still a little lacking in the ability to refine top-grade magic artifacts. I'm afraid I'll have to go back to Dikun Island with you to look for my old Chen." Lu Ping smiled and said, "How would you know if you don't try? If there's something like this, how confident are you?" As he said that, he took out the high-grade crafting furnace that he obtained from Fei Ling Island from his storage ring. Chen Lian was a man who knew his stuff. The moment he saw the crafting furnace, his eyes lit up and he said, "Where did you get this antique from? The crafting technique is rather simple and mysterious. I'm afraid it has 4,000 to 5,000 years of history." Although the crafting technique is simple and crude, it's very impressive. It can maximize the power of the magic artifact, but it also shortens the lifespan of the magic artifact. However, if the spiritual materials used to refine the magic artifact are refined carefully, this flaw can be made up for. However, with my refining technique, it's still a little lacking. Lu Ping saw that Chen Lian had forgotten what he had told him earlier the moment he saw the crafting furnace. Lu Ping was rather impressed by Chen Lian's obsession, but he still interrupted him and said, "You can study the crafting furnace later. I'm asking you now, with this, it shouldn't be a problem for you to upgrade Landslide to a top-grade magic artifact, right?" Chen Lian finally got rid of the temptation of the crafting furnace and replied, "There's no problem, but I've never refined a top-grade magic artifact before. If I fail, don't look for me." Lu Ping said fiercely, "If you fail, I'll take this crafting furnace back." Hearing this, Chen Lian's face turned bitter. Lu Ping was amused. He took out 2 mid-grade inner armors and a complete crocodile skin from his storage ring. After thinking for a moment, he took out 2 long thorns that were each 3 feet long and passed them to Chen Lian. "Since that's the case, use them to practice. You should recognize these 2 inner armors. This time, upgrade them to high-grade magic artifacts. Use these 2 thorns to refine 2 high-grade flying needles for me." Chen Lian ignored Lu Ping's instructions and exclaimed, "Good stuff, good stuff. Is this the skin of a primordial giant crocodile? Looking at the color and toughness of the skin, could it be a late blood condensation realm primordial giant crocodile? Heavens, did you kill a primordial giant crocodile? This is a fierce beast among demonic beasts. Even a 9th layer blood condensation realm cultivator might not be able to defeat a 7th layer primordial giant crocodile." Without waiting for Lu Ping to explain, Chen Lian continued, "Isn't this the long thorns of a flying swordfish? This is an ideal material to refine flying needles. Swordfish demonic beasts usually travel in pairs in the ocean. Even a late blood condensation realm demonic beast wouldn't dare to provoke a pair of mid-blood condensation realm flying swordfish. Did you kill them too?" Lu Ping said helplessly, "It's just a coincidence. Do as you see fit." After saying that, Lu Ping ignored Chen Lian, who was still admiring the materials, and returned to his cave dwelling. There was still a furnace of pills that was almost done. After a long time, a flustered and exasperated voice came from little Chen's crafting shop, cursing, "Bastard, where are you? If you want to upgrade 2 mid-grade inner armors to high-grade, how is this alligator skin enough? You also need several kinds of high-grade spiritual materials. Could it be that the long beak of this flying swordfish can be directly refined into a flying needle? At least 5 high-grade spiritual materials are needed for that to work." This guy ran really fast. It's a pity that the little bit of property I've saved over the years will have to be spent again. Lu Ping, who ran back to his cave dwelling, naturally couldn't hear Chen Lian's complaints. After all, the primordial giant crocodile's skin was used to upgrade 2 top-grade inner armors. Just the high-grade crafting furnace was already a top-grade magic tool. Chen Lian had definitely made a huge profit this time, so he didn't mind spending some spiritual materials. Lu Ping used the primordial giant crocodile's blood as the main ingredient, along with a dozen types of 500-year-old spiritual herbs. The barrier-breaking pill was specially concocted by Lu Ping for Lu Dugui to break through to the mid-blood condensation realm. Strictly speaking, although Lu Dugui and the primordial giant crocodile were both pure water elemental monsters, one of them had the turtle bloodline while the other had the Jiao bloodline. They weren't ideal complementary bloodlines. However, Lu Ping knew that they shared the same origin. Moreover, the primordial giant crocodile was a late blood condensation monster. It was already very rare for its blood to fuse with Lu Dugui's. The primordial giant crocodile's blood was enough for Lu Ping to concoct 7 or 8 furnaces of barrier-breaking pills. Lu Ping had spent more than half of the 500-year-old spiritual herbs he bought along the way. In total, he had obtained 5 bottles of barrier-breaking pills. His success rate was 70%. Lu Dugui was already close to reaching the peak of the 3rd layer blood condensation realm, so he fell asleep after eating 7 or 8 bottleneck-breaking pellets. By the time he woke up, Lu Ping would have another mid-blood condensation realm cultivator under his command. A month after Lu Ping returned, Master Immortal Lu returned from the sea. When Yao Yong and the rest heard that Lu Ping had returned safely, they were very excited. They all came to visit Lu Ping's cave abode. After seeing Lu Ping's cave abode, they were all envious of Lu Ping's good luck. As they chatted, they asked Lu Ping if he had any plans to become a disciple of a core forging realm enlightened master since he had already reached the mid-blood condensation realm. Lu Ping hadn't thought about this before, but it was important. After reaching the mid-blood condensation realm, Zhenling's sect's disciples would automatically become the sect's elite disciples. They would be able to study under the sect's core forging enlightened masters and receive greater help in their cultivation. They wouldn't have to take too many detours, and their future achievements would naturally be higher. Just like how Yao Yong became the disciple of enlightened master Chu Xuancheng and reached the 6th level blood condensation realm in 5 years. Chen Lian became the disciple of Sage Enigma Flame. Du Feng cultivated a metal-type cultivation technique. His master was enlightened master Xian Fan, who cultivated the Hegungjin military breaking kill technique. Du Feng was also at the 5th level blood condensation realm. Hu Lili became the disciple of a core forging realm enlightened master who specialized in formations. Zhong Jian's master was enlightened master Guo Xianshan, who was at the 5th level blood condensation realm. However, Lu Ping had no clue. Lu Ping had come into contact with a few core forging realm enlightened masters in the sect. The one he was most familiar with was undoubtedly enlightened master Jiang Xianlin. However, Lu Ping did not know if enlightened master Jiang's cultivation technique was compatible with his own. Moreover, enlightened master Jiang was currently preparing to break through to the Dharma manifestation realm. After everyone left, Lu Ping went to visit Master Immortal Lu. He briefly recounted what had happened in the past 5 years. When he mentioned that his whereabouts were exposed by a cultivator from his sect, Master Immortal Lu frowned. You did well. Although the Li family's father and son are the biggest suspects, the cultivators from the other sects were also heavily injured or killed by our sect's encirclement. The remaining cultivators have all returned to their sects, so there is no evidence left. The Li family and the Lin family have some influence in our sect. If there is no evidence, you can only blame yourself. Lu Ping understood. Master Immortal Lu looked at Lu Ping and said, I know you are a shrewd person. I'm afraid you will not let this matter rest. However, I still advise you to be careful. Zhenling's rules are very strict. Colluding with the enemy is a grave crime. The small Li family is like an ant in Zhenling. How would they dare to take such a risk and expose the identity and whereabouts of a cultivator from the sect? Lu Ping was taken aback. Master Immortal, are you saying that there is someone behind the Li family? Master Immortal Lu nodded. In the end, there is no evidence. Before Lu Ping left, Master Immortal Lu said, in 7 days, return to Tianling Mountain and prepare to become a disciple. Lu Ping asked who his disciple was, but Master Immortal Lu said he did not know. He had only received a notification from the sect. Chapter 137. After Lu Ping left Master Immortal Lu's place, he went straight to Chen Lian's smithy. When Chen Lian saw Lu Ping, he threw a few items at him and said, "Here, your things." Lu Ping took them and looked at them. First were 2 high-grade inner armors. The golden inner armors were shimmering with colorful formations, making them look even more luxurious. This was a high-grade mystic instrument made from the skin of the green sea snake and the primordial giant crocodile. Lu Ping loved it so much that he couldn't bear to part with it. Chen Lian said coldly, "It's a waste for you to wear these 2 inner armors. What are you going to do with the other one?" Lu Ping admired the 2 luxurious inner armors and said, "Spare." Chen Lian rolled his eyes and said, "Nonsense." Lu Ping didn't mind. He kept the 2 inner armors and took out the 2 high-grade flying needles to admire. Chen Lian said, "I spent a lot of effort on these 2 sewing needles. The long spines of the swordfish of yours are only mid-grade spiritual materials. I added a few high-grade spiritual materials and used up all the things I've accumulated over the years to barely upgrade these 2 sewing needles to the standard of a high-grade magic tool." When Lu Ping heard Chen Lian talking about sewing needles, he felt a chill run down his spine. Did he have a fetish for using sewing needles? He quickly corrected, "What sewing needles? Have you ever seen a 3-inch long sewing needle? These are blood jade divine needles, understand? Blood jade divine needles." Chen Lian saw that Lu Ping was getting anxious and quickly said, "Fine, fine. Blood jade divine needles are blood jade divine needles. Aren't they just needles?" Seeing that Lu Ping was about to explode again, Chen Lian quickly said, "Mystic instrument, it's an instrument. Not a needle." Seeing that Lu Ping's expression had improved, Chen Lian said again, "Flying needles are a rather difficult type to forge among the same grade mystic instruments. Seeing that I've given you so many things, you should at least give me something in return, right?" Lu Ping said, "Sure, what do you want?" Chen Lian was overjoyed and said, 100 caddies of refined spirit ash soil will do." Lu Ping pretended to think for a moment, and said, "Sure, but recently I have made some progress in alchemy, and I am somewhat dissatisfied with the mid-grade alchemy furnace in my hands. I see that this crafting furnace is not bad, and after some modification, it should be barely enough for alchemy." Chen Lian jumped up upon hearing that. With a pained expression, he pointed at Lu Ping's nose and said, "What? Transform it into an alchemy furnace? What kind of joke is this? You're simply wasting natural resources. Forget it, I don't want the spirit ash soil anymore. I'm just unlucky to have met a bad friend like you. No matter what, don't even think about taking the crafting furnace away. Unless you don't want to upgrade your landslide to a top-grade artifact." Seeing that he had finally gained the upper hand in his joke, Lu Ping cheerfully left Little Chen's crafting shop, leaving Chen Lian to beat his chest and stamp his feet, cursing himself for being careless in making friends. Lu Ping arrived at Hu Lily's residence, and returned the inner armor that had been upgraded to a high-grade artifact. He said, "How is it, do you like it?" "Chen Lian's craftsmanship is quite good." Hu Lily blushed, but still graciously accepted the inner armor. She said, "Chen Lian is the best craftsman in the sea region, after all. The quality of the artifacts he refines is naturally guaranteed. What are your plans when you return to Tianling Mountain in 7 days to acknowledge a master?" Lu Ping said indifferently, "I don't even know who my master is, so what plans can I have?" Hu Lily was slightly disappointed upon hearing that, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. She then reminded him, when acknowledging a master, the disciple has to present a gift. "Have you prepared it?" Lu Ping was curious. He asked, "Is there such a thing?" "I didn't know about it, tell me about it." Hu Lili looked at Lu Ping helplessly, then told him about the custom of Jinling apprenticeship. It turned out that when a Jinling apprentice reached the mid-blood condensation realm and met the requirements to acknowledge a master, there were usually 3 ways to do so. The first way was if the apprentice had outstanding performance and had already caught the attention of a core forging enlightened master. Under such circumstances, the apprentice would naturally be heavily nurtured by the enlightened master, just like Yao Yong when he was only at the first layer of the blood condensation realm. The second way was if the apprentice had connections with the apprentice, just like Shilingling, whose family had a deep background and had already contacted a suitable master for her in advance. The third way was the method most cultivators used. The enlightened masters who were preparing to accept apprentices would set up various kinds of tests on Tianling Mountain, and any disciple who passed the tests would be able to become an apprentice under the enlightened master who set up the tests. Hu Lili, Du Feng, and the others had passed the tests set up by their respective masters before they became apprentices. Hu Lili originally thought that with Lu Ping's outstanding performance, he would have already caught the attention of a core forging enlightened master. She didn't expect Lu Ping to be the same as her, choosing the most common third way. The third way was usually difficult for the apprentice to gain the attention of the master at the beginning, and the amount of guidance they received would naturally be very little. However, Hu Lili believed in Lu Ping's strength and believed that with Lu Ping's performance, he would sooner or later gain the attention of the master. Lu Ping didn't take this to heart. His cultivation technique was no longer the Lin-Hai wave listening technique of Jinling, but the more mysterious and tyrannical North Sea wave listening technique. He was probably the only person in Jinling who cultivated this technique. Even if he became an apprentice, he wouldn't get much help. After the apprenticeship ceremony, according to tradition, the apprentice had to present a gift. However, this was just a formality. A core forging enlightened master had seen all kinds of treasures, so why would he care about the apprentice's gift? However, this was ultimately a matter of face. The more precious and unique the gift, the more face the enlightened master would gain in front of the other enlightened masters, and the more important the apprentice would be to the master. 7 days later, it was time for Jinling's annual disciple recruitment ceremony. During this year, the new blood condensation cultivators in Jinling, as well as cultivators like Lu Ping who missed the previous disciple recruitment ceremony, returned to Tianling Mountain to participate in the disciple recruitment ceremony. Lu Ping reported his name to a core forging enlightened master who was in charge of this event. The enlightened master asked with interest, "You are Lu Ping?" Lu Ping didn't know how a mere blood condensation cultivator like him could be recognized by a core forging enlightened master. He could only reply in fear and trepidation, "Yes, I am." The enlightened master smiled and said, "You don't have to participate in the sex examination. Wait in the side hall." Lu Ping didn't understand the enlightened master's intention, so he followed the servant to the side hall of the Tianling Hall and waited there. Behind him, the blood condensation cultivators who were waiting to register revealed looks of envy. Some of them even muttered sourly, "Another lucky bastard." When Lu Ping arrived at the side hall, there were already a few blood condensation cultivators waiting there. Clearly, they had received special treatment just like Lu Ping. After a while, a young girl in palace attire walked into the side hall, causing a commotion among the waiting cultivators. Clearly, this gorgeous young girl was still very powerful. The young girl asked with a charming voice, "Who is Lu Ping?" Puzzled, Lu Ping stood up and said, "Yes, I am." The young girl giggled, and everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. Even the light in the side hall suddenly became brighter. The young girl ignored everyone else in the side hall and said, "Come with me." After saying that, she turned around and walked away. Lu Ping had no choice but to follow her, using his back to block the sharp gazes of the crowd. Lu Ping followed the young girl past the side hall and towards the top of the mountain. When they were about to reach the top, the young girl suddenly turned around and led Lu Ping into a forest at the side. Lu Ping didn't mind and followed the young girl into the forest. The young girl stopped at an empty space in the forest. Lu Ping also stopped behind her. The young girl turned her head and said, "If you want to become my mother's disciple, you have to pass through me first. Don't think that just because Daddy spoke up for you, you won't have to go through the test." Lu Ping was stunned. He asked, "Senior Martial Sister, may I ask which two enlightened masters are your parents' Tao partners?" The young girl was confused. You actually don't know? Forget it, you have to pass through me first." After saying that, the two ribbons on the young girl's palace dress suddenly flew out. Like two water snakes slithering through the water, they drew beautiful but hard-to-catch trajectories as they flew towards Lu Ping. These two ribbons were actually high-grade magic artifacts. The moment the young girl made her move, Lu Ping noticed that her body was covered in layers of indistinct green energy. This young girl, who was even younger than him, was actually a late blood condensation expert. Lu Ping saw the two ribbons flying towards him. The ribbons kept changing their trajectories, trying to conceal their attack. However, the ribbons kept changing their trajectories naturally. This was a special rhythm that only those who had reached the Force realm would have. Without any hesitation, Lu Ping took out his soaring wing swords. He didn't bother guessing where the ribbons were going to attack. Instead, he crossed his swords in front and behind him. Each of his swords emitted 49 sword rays, forming a surging current that rushed towards the two ribbons. The ribbons flipped like two water snakes that wanted to go against the current. However, before one of the torrents could stop, the other torrent had already pushed the previous wave and pounced over, directly smashing the two ribbons into the sword wave. The young girl didn't expect Lu Ping's attack to be so brutal and powerful. Even though she was a late blood condensation expert, she was still at a disadvantage. She couldn't help but let out a cry of surprise. After all, the young girl wasn't an ordinary cultivator. Seeing that she was at a disadvantage right from the start, she raised her hand and another high-grade flying sword flew towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping didn't want to reveal too much of his strength. Furthermore, the young girl only had the intention of sparring with him. There wasn't any hostility in her moves, so he took out his goose feather dual blades. The two mid-grade mystic artifacts took turns to block the high-grade flying sword in the air. When the young girl saw that Lu Ping was able to block her attack with a fifth-layer blood condensation cultivation, she wanted to fight with Lu Ping. However, she seemed to have thought of something and suddenly retracted the mystic artifact that was attacking Lu Ping. While Lu Ping was still in a daze, the young girl had already flown out of the forest and flew along the east side of the mountain peak. She left behind a tinkling laughter and said, "The apprenticeship ceremony will be held in 3 days. You must prepare a gift for me, okay? I can make half of the decisions. If the gift is not satisfactory and you embarrass me in front of others, I will ask my mother to accept you as her in-name disciple." Chapter 138. Lu Ping returned to the side hall with a stomach full of doubts. At this time, there was no one in the side hall. After asking a cleaning boy, he found out that the disciples who were preparing to be apprenticed to a master had already accepted the test of a core forging enlightened master in the front hall's square. Everyone in the side hall had gone to the square to watch. Naturally, Lu Ping was also curious. He quickly went to the square to see the questions that the core forging enlightened master had set for everyone. These questions could be said to be strange. Some required the disciple to memorize a spell within a certain period of time. Some required the disciple to write an essay according to the question. Some were more straightforward and ordered the disciple to fight first. The winner would naturally be apprenticed to the teacher. Some were even stranger. They actually asked the disciple to take a fishing rod and go fishing in the stream of Tian Ling Mountain. In short, there were all kinds of strange tests. It was an eye-opener for Lu Ping and he clicked his tongue in wonder. Of course, there were more professional tests. For example, those who wanted to be apprenticed to the pill concoction pavilion not only had to report their name, age, place of origin, cultivation level, master, etc., but they also had to refine a specific type of medicinal pill and achieve a certain success rate. Other places like the refining hall and the talisman crafting pavilion also had a strict assessment system. Lu Ping lost interest after looking for a while. However, the girl in the palace dress repeatedly emphasized the ceremony of apprenticing to a master made Lu Ping's mind turn. However, Lu Ping also couldn't guess which enlightened master wanted to accept him as a disciple. Moreover, it was a female enlightened master. Originally, the apprenticing ceremony was just a formality. However, people always had the heart to compare. Moreover, it was his future master's daughter who had repeatedly asked him to do so. Lu Ping had no choice but to take it seriously. Lu Ping thought for a long time but couldn't think of anything on him that could make a core forging enlightened master's eyes light up. If he really couldn't do it, he could use spirit stones or offer a few high-grade or even top-grade magic tools. He didn't lack these things. However, when he thought about it again, he felt like a nouveau riche after all. He was afraid that being covered in the stench of money would make his master unhappy. Even if he took out 3 to 5 top-grade magic tools, he was afraid that she would not care. It wasn't that he didn't have things that could attract the attention of perfected persons, such as the azure spiritual fire. However, that was only possible if Lu Ping was retarded. Speaking of the indigo spiritual fire, Lu Ping's eyes lit up. He could make a big deal out of the indigo spiritual fire. Now that he was an alchemist, no one would complain about having too many indigo spiritual fire. Even if his master couldn't use the indigo spiritual fire, she should have some juniors under her tutelage. If he gave the indigo spiritual fire to them, not only would his master gain face, but he would also be able to get along well with his senior brothers and sisters in the future. After making up his mind, Lu Ping returned to the temporary cultivation room that he had arranged for himself. After sealing the cultivation room and forming a restriction around it, Lu Ping took out the mid-grade alchemy furnace. At the same time, he also took out the blue spirit flame that was burning on the spirit gathering plate. Fortunately, he had been concocting the barrier-breaking pill. The primordial giant crocodile's blood was the main ingredient, so he saved a lot of spiritual herbs. Lu Ping secretly thought about which kinds of pills he should concoct. Suddenly, he remembered that when he killed Yuan Shikong from the overturning sea gang, he obtained a Wondergate pills recipe from his storage pouch. Lu Ping held the recipe in his hand. This recipe recorded a pill that sounded quite mystical, the face-retaining pill. In fact, this pill wasn't as mystical as it seemed. Just one pill could make one's appearance forever youthful. In this world, there would never be a pill whose medicinal efficacy would never fade. Otherwise, the elixir of immortality would also exist. Why would the friar need to cultivate so hard? The so-called face-retaining pill was a pill that could maintain one's appearance for several years or even decades. Once this period was over, the medicinal efficacy would fade. Unless one continued to consume the face-retaining pill, one's appearance would still age. The face-retaining pill was a kind of Wondergate pill that was in between the late blood condensation realm and the core forging realm. After reaching a certain level in the mid-blood condensation realm, Lu Ping had also tried to concoct a late blood condensation realm pill. However, the face-retaining pill required 5 stalks of 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. This undoubtedly increased the difficulty of concocting. Lu Ping was lucky enough to collect these 5 kinds of 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs on Fei Ling Island. In addition, there were also a few stalks of Qian Zhong millet magic tool. With the addition of more than 2,500-year-old spiritual herbs, Lu Ping managed to gather enough for 5 cauldrons of pills. However, there were still 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs in the cauldron. This was something that an alchemy master would only use when concocting core forging realm pills. Although most of the spiritual herbs were still 500-year-old, to be able to concoct this kind of pill, one would at least be in between an alchemy master and an alchemy master. Lu Ping pondered for a while and finally made up his mind, open the cauldron. This was an unprecedented challenge for Lu Ping. If he succeeded, Lu Ping's alchemy skills would usher in a leap forward. Lu Ping spent a full 2 hours to calm his excited heart. Then, he thought about the process recorded in the pill recipe. Following the order in the recipe, he lit the fire, warmed the cauldron, opened the lid, and placed the herbs in. After a long period of work, the medicinal properties of the various spiritual herbs in the cauldron finally began to fuse. This was a long process, but Lu Ping did not dare to relax. He used his divine sense to pay attention to every change in the cauldron. When the fire reached a certain point, Lu Ping formed 27 hand seals in a row. Each hand seal was accompanied by a vast amount of arcane energy that was sent into the cauldron. By the time the set of complicated hand seals was completed, it took Lu Ping an hour. Lu Ping felt that it was even more tiring than fighting a late blood condensation cultivator with the Qinghan sword. Lu Ping sat beside the cauldron and quickly recovered the arcane energy in his body. After another 2 hours, the medicinal liquid in the cauldron was finally fused. However, through his divine sense, Lu Ping found that a portion of the medicinal liquid was wasted. Lu Ping pulled himself together and began to form the hand seals. This set of hand seals was even more complicated. There were a total of 36 hand seals. There could not be a single repetition or mistake. By the time Lu Ping managed to form the hand seals, even with Lu Ping's profound arcane energy, his forehead was covered in sweat and he was gasping for breath. Even though Lu Ping tried his best to cooperate with him, it was his first time using the hand seals. Under the circumstances where he was not familiar with the hand seals, a portion of the solidified medicinal liquid still turned into black ash. Lu Ping did not have the time to regret it. He formed the 9 hand seals one by one. Each hand seal was executed with all of Lu Ping's arcane energy. The cauldron shook violently. When the 9 hand seals were completed, the lid of the cauldron opened with a boom. 2 grape-sized medicinal pills with a jade-like appearance jumped out of the cauldron. The 2 pills seemed to have a mind of their own. They made a half-turn in the air, as if they were trying to avoid being caught by Lu Ping. However, when they were halfway through their turn, they suddenly lost their momentum and fell to the ground. Half-step spirit transformation, it really is a Wondergate pill between a blood condensation pill and a core forging pill. It actually has a trace of spirituality. Unfortunately, it doesn't have enough spirituality, so it dissipated the moment it flew out of the cauldron. Lu Ping stretched out his hand and 2 white jade-like medicinal pellets flew into the jade crystal bottle in his hand as if they were attracted by something. Lu Ping was very satisfied with his success in concocting 2 face-halting pellets on his first try. After a night's rest, Lu Ping, who already had the experience of concocting the face-halting pellets, was much more familiar with the process. But this time, he only managed to concoct 2 face-halting pellets. Lu Ping continued to work hard. On the 3rd day, Lu Ping was completely familiar with the refining process and increased the number of pills to 3. On the 4th day, it was still 3. On the 5th day, Lu Ping's success rate finally reached 40%. At this time, Lu Ping was a big step closer to becoming an alchemy grandmaster. There was a total of 14 face-halting pills. Each face-halting pill could keep one's face for 30 years. Lu Ping used a jade bottle to store 10 as a gift for his master. After thinking for a while, Lu Ping decided to be more careful. He also refined a supplementary pill that was recorded in the face-halting pills recipe. This pill was called the Fragrance of Multitude pill. To put it bluntly, it was a kind of fragrance that lasted for a long time. Unlike the fragrance used to perfume clothes, after this pill was consumed, the fragrance would emanate from the person's skin and last for 3 years. Of course, the Fragrance of Multitude pill could also be chosen. Different Fragrance of Multitude pills had different fragrance, and cultivators could choose according to their preferences. This kind of Fragrance of Multitude pill was just a novelty. It was not difficult to refine. It was only equivalent to the difficulty of refining a late blood refining pill. Lu Ping casually traded a few 500-year-old spiritual herbs outside and obtained 7 to 8 batches of 100-year-old spiritual herbs to refine the Fragrance of Multitude pill. Lu Ping concocted all of them in one go. Now, Lu Ping's late blood refining pills were showing signs of surpassing pills. In other words, not only did he concoct a full batch of 10 pills, but because there was almost no waste of medicinal efficacy during the concoction process, he even managed to concoct 11 to 12 pills. Lu Ping put the dozens of fragrance of multitude pills into the jade bottle and waited quietly for the arrival of the apprenticeship ceremony the next day. In the past few days, Lu Ping also came out to communicate with other cultivators during his breaks in the concoction process. Those who passed the apprenticeship test naturally knew who their master was. Every enlightened master's test was different, and it also showed their identity. There was no need to mention those who managed to become apprentices through various connections. As for those disciples who were favored by the enlightened master, before accepting them, they would also seek their opinions in advance to see if they agreed or not. Of course, there was almost no one who disagreed. Lu Ping was the only one who still didn't know who he was going to be apprenticed to. There were also some disciples who suspected that Lu Ping had already been eliminated, so they lied and refused to leave, waiting for an opportunity. However, the enlightened master in charge of the application process personally told Lu Ping to wait in the side hall. That was the treatment that the enlightened master would receive if he had already been selected as a disciple by the enlightened master. This matter was also seen by many people. Lu Ping couldn't figure out which enlightened master would have the leisure to joke with him like this. Lu Ping wanted to ask the enlightened master in charge of the Heaven Spirit Hall, but he was told by the welcoming boy that the enlightened master would be away for a few days. As Lu Ping waited helplessly, Jinling's apprenticeship ceremony that was held once every 3 years finally began. Chapter 139. In this year's Jinling apprenticeship ceremony, there were a total of 14 enlightened masters who decided to accept disciples. However, there were more than 50 people who came to be apprenticed. Some of the enlightened masters found that there was no suitable disciple for them, so they left early and waited for the next apprenticeship ceremony. In addition to those who were eliminated, only 37 people obtained the qualifications to be apprenticed. The apprenticeship ceremony was held in the square in front of the Heaven Spirit Hall. Early in the morning, Lu Ping followed the disciples to the square with a feeling of unease. At this time, there were already many Jinling disciples gathered around the square to watch the ceremony. When the time was almost up, the core forging enlightened master who received Lu Ping and the others to register a few days ago slowly walked out of the Heaven Spirit Hall. It seemed that this enlightened master had come to the Heaven Spirit Hall after enlightened master Xian Yuan left the Heaven Spirit Hall to take over the Zhenling side hall. The enlightened master commanded a few cleaning boys to move out 14 exquisite grand armchairs from the Heaven Spirit Hall and place them in front of the Heaven Spirit Hall's entrance. The entrance of the Heaven Spirit Hall was spacious enough, and the 14 grand armchairs were placed far apart from each other. Lu Ping saw that there was a clear difference in the arrangement of the 14 grand armchairs. There were a total of 8 grand armchairs at the outermost ends of the hall, and 4 red grand armchairs were placed on each side. In the middle of the 4 red grand armchairs were 2 yellow grand armchairs, and the 2 purple grand armchairs in the middle were the most conspicuous. The Jinling disciples who came to watch the ceremony immediately began to discuss among themselves. Lu Ping knew that there must be people who understood the mystery of the arrangement of the chairs, so he carefully listened to the discussions. I didn't expect that there would be late core forging enlightened masters accepting disciples this time, and there are 2 of them at once. Yes, according to the sect's custom, late core forging enlightened masters do not accept disciples. But it is only a custom, there are no such rules. That's right. I've heard of late core forging enlightened masters accepting disciples in the past, but this is the first time I've seen it. There are also 4 mid-core enlightened masters. It seems that this apprenticeship ceremony is quite grand. After listening to everyone's discussion, Lu Ping understood that the tricolored armchair symbolized Jinling's early stage, mid-stage, and late-stage core forging realm. However, it seemed that the appearance of 2 late-stage core forging realm masters had surprised everyone. Lu Ping didn't know who these 2 late-stage core forging realm masters were and who was the lucky person who had obtained the favor of these 2 masters. At this moment, the ushering boy seemed to have suddenly received an order. He loudly sang, the apprenticeship ceremony is about to begin. Everyone, silence. Lu Ping heard someone mumbling behind him, "What time is it? Why did the ceremony suddenly start?" Another person said in a low voice, "What time? When the spiritual masters arrive, the ceremony will begin. The first spiritual master to arrive will be the beginning of the ceremony." The previous voice asked curiously, "If the real people only arrive in the afternoon, what should we do? Wait the whole morning?" Lu Ping rolled his eyes. This was the privilege of a core forging Taoist master. As soon as Lu Ping finished lamenting, he heard the ushering boy shout, "Yuzhang Prefecture's spiritual master Xiansheng has arrived." As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man who looked like an idler suddenly squeezed out from behind the crowd of cultivators. He raised his head and saw the spiritual master on duty at the entrance of the ceremony. He loudly laughed and said, "Damn, I didn't think that Xiansheng would arrive first today. Senior Martial Brother Xuanmiao, you are early." Spiritual Master Xuanmiao, who was on duty, nodded at him and smiled. Junior Martial Brother is indeed early. Spiritual Master Xiansheng casually sat on one of the red armchairs on the outside. He then closed his eyes as if he had fallen asleep. After a moment, the ushering boy shouted again, "Three Mysteries Mansion's spiritual master Xuanzi has arrived." As soon as the ushering boy finished speaking, a golden light descended from the sky. Afterward, a cultivator wearing Taoist robes stood in front of the hall. Spiritual Master Xuanzi slightly nodded at Spiritual Master Xuanmiao. Spiritual Master Xiansheng was still sleepy. Spiritual Master Xuanzi didn't mind and sat down next to Spiritual Master Xuanmiao. When the third spiritual master arrived, it was already 2 hours later. However, 4 more spiritual masters arrived one after another. The 4 spiritual masters arrived in different ways. They occupied 7 of the 8 red armchairs on both sides of the hall. 2 of them were women. As everyone waited for the 8th early core forging spiritual master Xuanmiao, who had been standing at the entrance of the Heaven's Spirit Hall, walked over to the only empty red armchair and sat down. The ushering boy was surprised and said, "5th Yuanfu, Spiritual Master Xuanmiao, please be seated." As soon as the boy finished speaking, there was a distant bird cry in the sky. A bird twice the size of Lu Qin flew toward the Heaven's Spirit Hall with a person on its back. At the same time, there was a dark cloud beside the bird. There was also a person standing on top of it. The 2 of them seemed to be chatting as they flew toward the Heaven's Spirit Hall. The ushering boy shouted, "Spiritual Master Nie Xianjing of Golden Rock Mansion and Spiritual Master Xuanhuai of Mountain Dock Mansion have arrived." This time, the 8 early core forging spiritual masters who were sitting on the red armchairs all stood up and bowed. "Greetings, Senior Xianjing." "Greetings, Senior Xuanhuai." Everyone greeted each other, creating a moment of chaos. The 2 mid-core forging spiritual masters did not mind and only greeted everyone with a smile. They each chose a yellow armchair and sat down. After a while, another 2 mid-core forging enlightened masters arrived one after the other. One of them was also a woman, and the enlightened masters exchanged pleasantries with each other. Lu Ping was dumbfounded as he watched from the side. The enlightened masters acted as if there was no one else around them, and they chatted and laughed as if nothing was going on. The spectating cultivators and Lu Ping, who were waiting to be apprenticed, could only stare blankly. At this moment, the boy called out, "Spiritual Master Xianyin of the Spirit Ritual Manor has arrived." As soon as the boy's voice faded, the core forging spiritual masters who were chatting fell silent. The other spiritual masters all looked at Spiritual Master Xuanmiao, who was on duty outside the Heaven's Spirit Hall. Spiritual Master Xuanmiao only acted according to the rules and did not know anything else. Just as everyone was looking forward to how Spiritual Master Xianyin would appear, a short middle-aged man with a blurry face sat on one of the 2 purple armchairs in the middle of the hall. He looked so ordinary that it was difficult to notice him. Just as the cultivators watching the ceremony looked at each other, wondering how this person had appeared, the 12 enlightened masters all stood up and respectfully said to the middle-aged man on the purple chair, "Greetings, Senior Marshal Brother Xian Yin." The middle-aged man was quite arrogant and didn't move from his seat. He only nodded his head and said, "N." Then he didn't say anything else. The 12 spiritual masters clearly knew this person's temperament. After greeting each other, they all took their seats. Although they still conversed with each other, they didn't chat as casually as before. It was clearly because of this spiritual master Xianyin. Lu Ping thought that this spiritual master Xianyin had quite a strong aura. However, when Lu Ping used his spiritual sense to investigate, he couldn't find any aura from this spiritual master Xianyin. Although he was sitting there, it was as if he didn't exist. Instead, the spiritual master Xianyin seemed to be aware of Lu Ping's secret spying. His tightly closed eyes suddenly opened slightly in Lu Ping's direction before closing them again. Lu Ping immediately felt a sharp gaze shooting towards him like a sharp blade. This gaze contained a fierce killing intent, but it didn't erupt. Even so, Lu Ping felt that he was suffocating from this imposing aura. The killing intent was like a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Although it was restrained, it was like a fireball that could explode at any time. It hung in Lu Ping's heart, causing his mind to be in chaos. Lu Ping was startled. Fortunately, he had experienced life and death several times. The North Sea wave listening art was a top-notch cultivation method. As he circulated his magic power, his powerful heartbeat was like a wake-up call. It freed Lu Ping from the spiritual master Xuanin's gaze. However, his body was already covered in a cold sweat. The 4 core forging stage spiritual masters sitting on the yellow chairs seemed to have sensed something. They suspiciously looked at the spiritual master Xianyin. The 8 core forging stage spiritual masters didn't seem to sense anything. The spiritual master Xianyin still had a bleak expression, as if nothing had happened. At this time, there was only one purple chair left. Naturally, it caused everyone to speculate. Although Lu Ping was also curious, he was obviously more concerned about who his teacher was. At this time, there were 3 female core forging stage spiritual masters. However, Lu Ping didn't know any of them. Even their names were only known through the welcoming boy. Just as Lu Ping was secretly observing the 3 female spiritual masters, the welcoming boy suddenly shouted, "Heavy Flower Mansion's spiritual master Xianyin has arrived." The cultivators in the square suddenly fell silent. They all wanted to see what kind of person this late core forging stage spiritual master was. Lu Ping was stunned. Others might not know who spiritual master Xianyin was, but Lu Ping had seen him before. The spiritual master who led the Jinling team to Fei Ling Island was spiritual master Lu Xianyin and spiritual master Guo Xianshan. Spiritual master Lu Xianyin had left a deep impression on Lu Ping. He was an existence that could rival Xian Ling sect's spiritual master Feng Shudao. Who was Feng Shudao? He was a genius of Xian Ling sect. He was the Xian Ling sect's most likely expert to enter the Dharma phase. Together with Jinling sect's spiritual master Jiang Xianlin, they were known as the North Sea Twins. This showed spiritual master Lu Xuanin's status. As expected, when the 12 early and mid-stage core forging stage spiritual masters heard spiritual master Lu Xuanling's arrival, not only did the 12 early and mid-stage core forging stage spiritual masters stand up to welcome him, even spiritual master Xianyin, who had been sitting motionlessly in his chair, straightened his back and slowly stood up. A long red ribbon flew across the sky. One end of it landed in front of the Heaven's Spirit Hall, and the other end was so long that it disappeared into the horizon. Just as everyone was puzzled, they saw a beautiful woman in her 30s standing on the bridge formed by the red ribbon. When everyone looked again, she was already slowly descending toward the Heaven's Spirit Hall. Lu Ping looked over. This elegant and beautiful woman was spiritual master Lu Xianling, whom he had met before. At this moment, she was greeting the core forging stage spiritual masters in front of the hall. The spiritual masters greeted her in a chaotic manner. Some greeted her, "Greetings, martial aunt." Some said, "Greetings, martial aunt." The 4 mid-stage core forging stage spiritual masters all addressed spiritual master Lu Xianling as senior sister. The strangest thing was that spiritual master Xiansheng, who arrived first, actually stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Greetings, mistress." Spiritual master Lu Xianling did not say anything about spiritual master Xuancheng's greeting. She walked straight to the purple chair. The spiritual masters were not surprised by this. Spiritual master Xiansheng did not feel awkward and returned to his seat after bowing. Spiritual master Lu Xianling smiled at spiritual master Xianyin, who was standing beside her. "I didn't expect junior brother Xianyin to come as well. This makes senior sister happy." Chapter 140. Greetings, senior martial sister Lu. Daoist Mysterious Yin was expressionless as usual. Daoist Mysterious Yin smiled and nodded. He turned around and sat on 2 purple chairs with Daoist Mysterious Yin. The 8 early-stage core forging enlightened masters waited for the 4 mid-stage core forging enlightened masters to take their seats. When the servant boy saw that the 14 core forging realm enlightened masters had arrived, he retreated. A late blood condensation realm middle-aged scholar who had been following behind Daoist Profound Miao stepped forward and announced loudly, "The apprenticeship ceremony will now begin. All apprenticeship disciples, come forward and offer incense to the ancestor." Lu Ping followed the disciples to Tianling Palace. There, he offered incense sticks and kowtowed to the Zhenling sect's core forging enlightened masters, hoping that they would protect Zhenling's sect for a long time to come and protect the disciples to achieve success. The entire ceremony was solemn and respectful. Even Lu Ping didn't dare to overstep his boundaries. After bowing to the ancestors, the middle-aged scholar said, "Disciples, come forward and bow to your teacher." Lu Ping saw the disciples who were called to come forward and respectfully bow to their teacher. Lu Ping was dumbfounded. He still didn't know which enlightened master his teacher was. After being called, he didn't even know which enlightened master he should bow to. Just when Lu Ping was at a loss of what to do, the middle-aged scholar announced his name, "Lu Ping of Huangli Island, former Group 7 disciple of Zhenling Side Hall, come forward and bow to your teacher." Lu Ping panicked. He hesitated whether he should explain the situation in front of everyone. If he did so, wouldn't it mean that his unknown teacher forcefully accepted him as a disciple without his consent? If that happened, wouldn't his unknown teacher lose face in front of all the enlightened masters? Even if he became her disciple again, he would still be disliked by her. Lu Ping's hesitation caused him to slow down. The middle-aged scholar who presided over the ceremony felt sorry for his disciple for being so rude. He shouted again, "Huangli Island's Lu Ping, step forward and greet your teacher." This time, not only was Lu Ping sweating profusely, the disciples also looked at each other. Lu Ping was about to brace himself and explain the situation, but he noticed that only enlightened master Lu Xianling and enlightened master Profound Miao were smiling at him. The other enlightened masters didn't know who Lu Ping was and only looked at the disciples who were preparing to become Lu Ping's disciple. Lu Ping's heart skipped a beat. Although he didn't know who his teacher was, it was obvious that his teacher knew who he was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have specially asked to accept him as a disciple. However, other than enlightened master Lu Xianling and enlightened master Profound Miao, the other enlightened masters obviously didn't know who Lu Ping was. Therefore, his teacher could only be enlightened master Lu Xianling or enlightened master Profound Miao. The girl who came to find him that day clearly told him that it was her mother who wanted to accept Lu Ping as a disciple. Therefore, his teacher must be a female enlightened master, so it could only be enlightened master Lu Xianling. The more Lu Ping thought about it, the more he felt that it was reasonable. The girl that day was also wearing a palace dress, and enlightened master Lu Xianling was also wearing a palace dress today. Lu Ping recalled the girl's appearance that day and realized that there were many similarities between her and enlightened master Lu Xianling. Just when the middle-aged scholar was about to shout Lu Ping's name again, a young man in his 20s suddenly walked out from the group of disciples. Under everyone's gaze, he walked up to enlightened Master Lu Xianling, who obviously had the highest status. He bowed deeply and said, "Disciple Lu Ping greets Master. I wish Master's cultivation to improve and live a long life." When Lu Ping bowed, his impulsive mood instantly calmed down. Then, cold sweat immediately dripped down his forehead. His previous guess was just an inference, and there was no evidence. If he made a wrong judgment, not only would the real master lose face, but Lu Ping might also be punished for the crime of deceiving his master. Just when Lu Ping was letting his imagination run wild, a gentle voice sounded, and immediately made Lu Ping feel as if he had been pardoned. "There's no need to be so polite, please get up first." Lu Ping stood up and saw enlightened Master Lu Xianling looking at him with a smile on his face. He quickly turned around and returned to the group of disciples. In the end, his gamble paid off. Lu Ping heaved a long sigh of relief. He was too impulsive at the start, and this time, he had unintentionally taken a trip to the gates of hell. A light breeze blew past, and Lu Ping realized that his back was already soaked in sweat. Although all of them had become the disciple of an enlightened master, there were still differences between them. Most of them could only become a core forging enlightened master's in-name disciple after passing the test. If they performed well in the future, they would naturally be promoted to an official disciple. There were also some who became an official disciple the moment they entered the sect, becoming the envy of others. Thinking about it, Jinling had heard that there were close to 10,000 mid and late blood condensation cultivators, but there were less than 100 core forging enlightened masters. If every mid and late blood condensation cultivator had a core forging enlightened master as an official disciple, then each enlightened master would have close to 100 disciples. Therefore, it was inevitable for them to adopt the in-name disciple method. Lu Ping didn't know whether he was an in-name disciple or an official disciple. After everyone was done with the ceremony, there was only one last event left. It was also the event that everyone was talking about the most, the ceremony of accepting a master. As expected, when the middle-aged scholar saw that everyone had greeted their master, he shouted, "The last event of the ceremony is for all disciples to present their gifts." In fact, when Jinling held the ceremony in front of the Heaven Spirit Mountain's cultivators, her original intention was to encourage the disciples to take risks and improve themselves. After all, everyone had to put in a lot of effort to present their gifts in front of everyone. They couldn't let others look down on them. However, for some reason, the core forging enlightened master's reputation was also involved in the ceremony, which made things a little more complicated. This time, the middle-aged scholar didn't read out the disciples' names according to the name list. Instead, he decided on the order of the disciples' gifts according to the status of the enlightened masters present. Enlightened Master Xuanqing's disciple, Luo Zihuan, presents his gifts. Because this enlightened Master Xianqing had just called his master, Lu Xianling, mistress, Lu Ping paid close attention to him. A fourth-layer blood condensation realm cultivator, about the same age as Lu Ping, walked up to enlightened Master Xianqing. He scratched his disheveled hair and took out a jade crystal box from the storage bag at his waist. He said, "This disciple doesn't have much ability. I found a cultivator's ruin in the slow surge sea and obtained 9,000-year-old spiritual herbs. I'm here to present them to you, Master." Enlightened Master Xianqing took the jade box and nodded with a smile. 9,000-year-old spiritual herbs is very good. 9,000-year-old spiritual herbs was not a small number. On Fei Ling Island, Lu Ping and the others often fought over a single 1,000-year-old spiritual herb. Sure enough, many of the cultivators who were watching the ceremony cheered. At the same time, sparse applause sounded. When Luo Zihuan heard spiritual master Xuanqing's praise and heard the cheers from the audience, he smiled foolishly and stood to the right of spiritual master Xianqing. Lu Ping thought about his 5 cauldrons of face-halting pellets. He used 25 spirit herbs that were nearly 1,000 years old, which was enough to concoct a cauldron of ordinary early core forging realm medicinal pellets. In addition, he used 150 spirit herbs that were 500 years old. Although the success rate was low and he wasted a lot of them, they were still medicinal pellets. Plus, with his identity as an alchemist, the value of the medicinal pellets was far higher than the 9,000 years old spirit herbs. The apprentice ceremony continued. The next one to come up was also a fourth-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. His apprenticeship gift was a total of 50 mid-grade spirit stones. Obviously, this amount of spirit stones was not a small burden to him. He must have put in a lot of effort to get it. However, the cultivators in the audience did not buy it. In their opinion, giving spirit stones was like giving gold and silver to mortals. It was too vulgar. Therefore, many people started booing. The apprentice's face turned pale and beads of sweat dripped down. On the other hand, his master, enlightened Master Xianchang, accepted the gift with a smile and said, 50 mid-grade spirit stones is a token of my sincerity. Very good. When the apprentice heard enlightened Master Xuanchang's words, he calmed down and thanked his master gratefully. Then, he stood next to enlightened Master Xianchang. Lu Ping was stunned as he watched from the side. No wonder everyone attached so much importance to the apprenticeship ceremony. To put it bluntly, they couldn't lose their master's face. To put it bluntly, which cultivator could withstand such ridicule in front of so many people? Next, the apprentice cultivators came forward one by one to present their gifts. There were all kinds of gifts, such as magic artifacts, spiritual materials, materials obtained from hunting demon beasts, talismans, treasure maps, and some other strange things. It was an eye-opener for Lu Ping. Of course, there were also people who gave him elixirs. No matter what kind of apprenticeship gift the apprentice disciple gave, whether it was precious or not, or whether the audience cheered or jeered, the enlightened masters who accepted the apprenticeship ceremony all had a calm expression on their faces. They would smile and say a few words of encouragement. None of them showed any dissatisfaction with the gift. In the blink of an eye, 34 out of the 37 apprentices had finished their apprenticeship ceremony. Only 4 disciples, including Lu Ping, were left on the stage. 10 enlightened masters on the stage had also finished their apprenticeship ceremony. Only enlightened Master Lu Xianling and enlightened Master Xianyin were left on the purple seats in the center. There were also 2 enlightened masters in the middle of the stage. They were enlightened Master Xianjing and enlightened Master Xuanhuai, who had arrived on the Golden Rock and White Cloud respectively. Lu Ping was curious about which of the 3 enlightened masters were the apprentices of, so he looked at the other 3. At the same time, the other 3 also noticed each other. Obviously, they had the same idea as Lu Ping. The 4 of them looked at each other, making the atmosphere very strange. The middle-aged scholar who presided over the apprenticeship ceremony also seemed to be tired of speaking at this moment, so he casually thanked them. The audience of Jinling cultivators also looked at the 4 people at this moment. Obviously, they were very interested in the apprenticeship ceremony of the last 4 people. Chapter 141. Lu Ping looked at the other 3. One was a handsome and elegant young man dressed like a young scholar, the other made Lu Ping frown. Lu Ping knew this person. It was the arrogant young man who came to ask Lu Ping for a millennium spirit grass after Lu Ping returned from Fei Ling Island. After not seeing him for a few years, this young man seemed to have matured a lot. Thinking about this young man's background in Jinling's alchemy pavilion, other than his own master, one of the remaining 4 enlightened masters must be an alchemy grandmaster of the sect. At this time, the arrogant young man obviously also recognized Lu Ping. His expression also changed, then as if remembering something, he looked at enlightened Master Lu Xianling who was sitting in the center of the hall, gritted his teeth, and his expression returned to normal. The third person's age was similar to Lu Ping, maybe even a little younger, but his face and eyes were full of hardships. Obviously, he had experienced a lot. Lu Ping also felt a murderous aura from him. His whole body was like an unsheathed sword, cold and stern, making people not dare to approach him. Including Lu Ping himself, the cultivators outside the hall suddenly found that these 4 people had a common characteristic: they were all young. In terms of age, Lu Ping was probably the oldest. Everyone came to a realization. No wonder 2 late core forging enlightened masters came out to recruit disciples. Even enlightened master Xian Jing and enlightened master Xian Huai, one was an alchemy grandmaster of the alchemy pavilion, and the other was a vice hall enlightened master of the puppet hall. It turned out that these 4 people were here to recruit geniuses. The crowd was talking among themselves, obviously looking forward to what kind of gifts the 4 people could offer. The middle-aged scholar who had just finished resting shouted loudly, "Disciple of enlightened master Xian Huai, Ji Zixuan, offers gifts." The cultivator who looked like a handsome young master smiled at Lu Ping and the others, then walked up to Reverend Xian Huai, bowed, and said, "I heard that teacher has been collecting the puppet-making literature that was passed down from the time when Fei Ling's sect was destroyed. I was fortunate enough to trade for a puppet-making jade slip from a senior brother who had just returned from Fei Ling Island. I have come to offer it to teacher." Spiritual Master Xian Huai was delighted to hear this and said, "Oh, let me see it." There was a hint of eagerness in his expression. Ji Zixuan respectfully handed over a grayish-black jade slip. Taoist Master Xian Huai took it and impatiently probed it with his divine sense. A moment later, Taoist Master Xian Huai stroked his beard and said with a smile, "Good, good. It is one of the puppet inheritance jade slips that the old man needs. With this jade slip, the old man can save 3 years of research and exploration." When the audience heard Master Taoist Xian Huai's laughter, they all praised in unison, "Good." They also applauded enthusiastically. Ji Zixuan bowed slightly and retreated to Taoist Master Xian Huai's side. The middle-aged scholar shouted again, "Taoist Master Xian Jing's disciple, Tao Zifang, presents the gift of apprenticeship." Tao Zifang, the arrogant teenager from back then, looked at Lu Ping provocatively, then walked up to Taoist Master Xian Jing with his head held high. After bowing to Taoist Master Xian Jing, he reached out to his waist and took out a milky white jade bottle. Lu Ping observed carefully from the side. There was no storage pouch on Tao Zifang's waist, only a black jade belt. It was probably a storage belt. Tao Zifang said, "Master, these are the 3 blood-condensing pills disciple has successfully refined a few days ago. The first and second batch produced 3 pills each, and the third batch produced 4 pills. This is an entire bottle of blood-condensing pills. At the same time, disciple has officially become an alchemist." This time, Taoist Master Xian Jing didn't need to say anything. The surrounding cultivators exclaimed in surprise. The difficulty of refining blood-condensing pills was comparable to that of a late blood condensation cultivator. Tao Zifang was already an alchemist at such a young age. Obviously, he would be heavily nurtured by the sect. His future was limitless. Lu Ping, on the other hand, felt a little helpless. Tao Zifang was the alchemy genius, yet he managed to refine 3 pills in his first batch. Lu Ping remembered that when he refined his first batch of blood-condensing pills, he had already described it as a miracle. This was because before this, no matter what kind of pill Lu Ping refined, he would always fail on his first batch. Taoist Master Xian Jing's face was also glowing. He smiled and said, "I still need to continue training. The success rate needs to be increased." Although he didn't say any obvious words of praise, anyone with a discerning eye could see from Taoist Master Xian Jing's expression that he was very satisfied. Tao Zifang respectfully acknowledged, but he still had a proud expression on his face. He glanced in the direction of Lu Ping, the cold youth, and Ji Zixuan. Ji Zixuan was still smiling, but Lu Ping didn't seem to notice. Only the cold youth gave a slight humph. Just at this time, the middle-aged scholar's voice rang out again, "Taoist Master Black Yin's disciple, Yin Zichu, presents the apprenticeship gift." Yin Zichu was the cold youth. He walked forward and bowed to Taoist Master Black Yin. Taoist Master Black Yin's eyes finally opened. He looked at Yin Zichu and said, "Is it done?" Yin Zichu nodded. He took out a storage bag from his bosom and threw it on the ground. Immediately, the smell of blood filled the air. The surrounding cultivators were in an uproar. Tao Zifang frowned in disgust. Ji Zishuan only wrinkled his nose. He was also somewhat sensitive to the smell of blood, but his expression was still calm. Lu Ping, on the other hand, had an expression of indifference. There were a total of 3 demon beast corpses on the ground. Lu Ping could tell at a glance that these 3 demon beasts were killed by the flying sword in a short period of time. The way Lu Ping looked at the cold youth suddenly changed. There was a hint of admiration in his eyes. At this time, a cultivator who recognized the 3 demon beasts said, "Silver shark, flowery flower snake, and feather eagle." These 3 demon beasts were all in the late blood condensation realm. This silver shark was even at the 8th layer of the blood condensation realm. The feather eagle is also known for its fast speed. Another cultivator said, "This junior martial brother Yin Zichu's cultivation is only at the 6th layer of the blood condensation realm." A more knowledgeable cultivator added, "From the looks of it, each demon beast was killed within 10 moves." When did the gap between the late blood condensation and mid-blood condensation realm become so easy to bridge? Everyone was talking at once, but every time they said a sentence, the surrounding cultivators would cheer. When the cultivators clearly explained the information of the 3 demon beasts on the ground, the cultivators were already applauding and cheering. Lu Ping, on the other hand, was able to glean more accurate information from the battle. Yin Zichu didn't even use more than 7 moves to kill the 3 monster beasts, instead of 10 moves as everyone thought. Master Mysterious Yin still had a deadpan expression on his face. He only nodded and said, "Not bad." Yin Zichu moved to the side and kept the demon beast corpses. He stood beside Master Mysterious Yin, leaving only a pool of blood on the ground. The middle-aged scholar cleaned it up casually. At this time, only Lu Ping had not presented his gift yet. The crowd looked at Lu Ping and whispered to each other. At this time, everyone had already noticed that the first 3 disciples were competing with each other when presenting their gifts. Even the enlightened masters were interested. They wanted to know what was so special about this last disciple that made Lu Xianling, one of the 3 truths and 4 spirits of the Zhenling sect, personally come out to accept him as his disciple. The middle-aged scholar coughed unnaturally. Obviously, he was affected by the atmosphere. When he saw his teacher, Master Mysterious Miao, looking at him, he quickly said, "Master Lu Xuanling's disciple, Lu Ping, presents his gift." Lu Ping, on the other hand, was no longer nervous. He walked forward, bowed, and took out a jade bottle. This disciple was lucky enough to obtain a pill recipe a few days ago. "I refined this bottle of miracle face retaining pill. I wish Master eternal youth." Silence. The crowd was confused. After a while, someone whispered to each other, "What is this miracle face retaining pill? Why haven't I heard of it?" "Never heard of it." As the name suggests, it should be related to maintaining one's appearance, right? Then it should be similar to the appearance stabilizing pill and beauty pill, right? The appearance stabilizing pill can maintain one's appearance for 10 years, while the beauty pill can only maintain one's appearance for 5 years. These 2 miracle face retaining pills are equivalent to the mid-blood condensation realm, while the other is equivalent to the early blood condensation realm. It's not bad compared to the miracle face retaining pill. After all, Master Lu Xianling is a female. However, no matter if it's the appearance stabilizing pill or the beauty pill, they will eventually lose their effectiveness if consumed too much. When that happens, one will not be able to maintain one's appearance and beauty anymore. The crowd still applauded and cheered, but it was not as enthusiastic as the previous 3 disciples. The crowd was still a little disappointed. After everyone applauded, Master Lu Xianling did not say any words of encouragement. Could it be that Master Lu was dissatisfied and felt embarrassed? Everyone looked at Lu Ping with pity in their eyes, only to find that Master Lu Xianling was happily playing with Lu Ping's jade crystal bottle in her hand. She even opened the bottle and sniffed the fragrance of the pill inside. The other 3 female enlightened masters were also looking at the jade crystal bottle in Master Lu's hand eagerly. Other than that, the other enlightened masters on the stage were also looking at Lu Ping strangely. Even Tao Zifang was glaring at Lu Ping indignantly. Clearly, he knew something that the others did not. The crowd was stunned. Was there something wrong? He's using a jade crystal bottle. A cultivator finally made a new discovery. Could it be that he's concocting a core forging realm pill? Such a young alchemy master. It can't be, right? The crowd started discussing again, and the momentum was getting louder and louder. The middle-aged scholar was at a loss of what to do. Master Profound Miao saw that the crowd was getting out of control and coughed loudly. The crowd felt as if a clap of thunder had exploded in their ears, and they immediately shut their mouths. Master Profound Miao stood up and said slowly, "Youth retaining pill, a pill that can preserve one's appearance for 30 years. It's made from a mixture of 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs and 500-year-old spiritual materials. It's a type of blood condensation realm pill and core forging realm pill. Cultivators who can concoct this type of pill are usually called alchemy masters." The crowd listened to Master Profound Miao's brief explanation, and after a long time, someone suddenly said, "A 5th-layer blood condensation realm alchemy master in his 20s. This bottle of pill could preserve one's appearance for 300 years. How long was the lifespan of a core forging realm enlightened master? 500 to 800 years. Tao Zifang's facial muscles twitched. He's really an alchemy master. This guy must be targeting me on purpose. This is revenge. The crowd was still silent. There was no applause or cheering. They only looked at Lu Ping with admiration. From their gazes, Lu Ping could only read one word, monster. Chapter 142. Just as Lu Ping was suffering under the worship and jealousy of the crowd, a voice came and said coldly, "Legend has it that Xian Ling Sec's alchemy master, Wei Shiren, went out to travel when he was young and obtained a recipe for the Agerasia pill in the East Sea. This recipe was the only one in the North Sea. Wei Shiren regarded it as his life and never passed it on to others. Wei Shiren used this recipe to refine the Agerasia pill and earned a lot of spirit herbs and spirit stones from female cultivators and male cultivators who flattered female cultivators." "Boy, who gave you this recipe? Did you refine this Agerasia pill or did someone else give it to you? If you refined it yourself, whose inheritance did you get?" The person who spoke at first was slow, as if he was telling a story, attracting everyone's attention. But when he asked questions later, his expression became fierce, as if he had determined that Lu Ping's identity was suspicious. At the same time, a strong momentum came towards Lu Ping, pressing down on Lu Ping's breath. Lu Ping turned around in surprise. The person who spoke was Tao Zifang's teacher, Xinling's alchemy master, Taoist master Xian Jing, who was in the middle stage of core forging. The crowd, who had been addicted to watching the ceremony, had been waiting for the middle-aged scholar to announce the end of the apprenticeship ceremony. Unexpectedly, a new force suddenly appeared and caused waves. Suddenly, their spirits were lifted again. After Taoist master Xian Jing finished his words, everyone looked at Lu Ping with a hint of suspicion. Lu Ping's face was red under the pressure of Taoist master Xian Jing's momentum, but his heart was burning with anger. "When did I offend you, old bastard? Now you come out and give me eye medicine." Lu Ping almost gritted his teeth and said, "Junior's affairs will be handled by Junior's teacher, and Junior's affairs will only be told to Junior's teacher. What qualifications do you have to ask? I just won't say it. You're accusing me of a crime that I didn't commit." Lu Ping's words could be said to be extremely disrespectful. At first, he still considered himself to be a junior, but towards the end, he directly used "sir," "you," and "I." He was clearly saying that Lu Ping was not worthy of being a senior expert, and that he had lived his life like a dog. As soon as Lu Ping finished speaking, the crowd of cultivators went into an uproar. The Taoist masters present all had a surprised expression on their faces. Even Taoist master Mysterious Yin opened his eyes and looked at Lu Ping. This little guy is actually able to speak under the suppression of Xian Jing's intermediate core forging stage spiritual sense. Not only that, but he is also able to speak in a coherent manner. It's really interesting. Soon after, the spiritual masters realized that Lu Ping's words were also full of sarcasm. This was a blatant provocation of the authority of the core forging spiritual masters. However, spiritual master Lu did not say anything. Xian Jing's sudden provocation was somewhat inexplicable. Thus, they all looked on coldly. At this moment, Taoist master Xian Jing was furious. He didn't expect that Lu Ping could speak fluently under the suppression of his spiritual sense. He didn't expect Lu Ping to say such contemptuous words to him. Taoist master Xian Jing wanted to slap Lu Ping to make an example out of him. However, Lu Ping was spiritual master Lu's disciple, so he couldn't deal with him as he pleased. Not to mention, spiritual master Lu was also present at this moment. Spiritual master Xian Jing's cold eyes made Taoist master Xian Jing's hair stand on end. Only now did he remember the power of the 3 truths and 4 spirits in Jinling. Enlightened master Xian Jing was in a difficult position. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. Because Lu Ping was able to refute enlightened master Xian Jing's words, the situation changed dramatically in an instant. He became the most shameless person in this apprenticeship ceremony. Taoist master Xian Jing put all his qi on Lu Ping. At this moment, even a late blood condensation realm cultivator would fall to the ground. However, Lu Ping still stood there with his back straight, even though Lu Ping's veins were bulging. At this moment, spiritual master Lu, who was behind Lu Ping, finally spoke. Senior brother Xian Jing, thank you for disciplining this disrespectful disciple on behalf of little sister. Senior brother, don't be angry and harm your health. Taoist master Xian Sheng's eyes twitched. The corner of Reverend Xuancheng's eyes twitched as he sat at the side. He more or less understood this mistress of his. She was usually gentle and virtuous, and would not speak a single harsh word. If anyone offended her, she would only say a few words, and would never argue with them verbally. However, the methods she would use to exact vengeance would cause one's scalp to go numb. Back then, even an outstanding person like his master would have to show some respect to his mistress. When spiritual master Lu's words came, the qi that was suppressing Lu Ping instantly disappeared. Lu Ping turned to spiritual master Lu and said in a low voice, I dare not lie to master. Disciples Agerasia pill formula was obtained from a cultivator from the overturned sea gang that I killed. As for disciples pill concoction skills, I only need to refine some more pills to prove it. Lu Ping's voice was very low. The surrounding cultivators didn't know what Lu Ping said to spiritual master Lu, but the spiritual masters on the stage all heard it. When the spiritual masters heard that the Agerasia pill formula was obtained from the overturned sea gang, the spiritual masters surprisingly didn't question whether it was true or not. Even Taoist master Xian Jing didn't question it. Taoist master Xian Miao stood up and said to the crowd, the apprenticeship ceremony is over. Everyone can leave now. Although the cultivators were unwilling, they didn't dare to disobey Taoist master Xian Miao's orders. One by one, they returned to their own cave abodes. After everyone left, Taoist master Xian Jing said to spiritual master Lu, even so, we can't be sure that he didn't obtain the pill formula from Wei Shiren. After all, the Agerasia pill is a quasi-master grade pill. How could it be obtained by a blood condensation realm cultivator from the overturned sea gang? I think we still need to strictly investigate this kid, including the cultivators who recommended him to be spiritual master Lu's disciple. This is to prevent people with ulterior motives from sneaking in. That way, everyone will be convinced, right? Taoist master Xian Jing's tone was already that of a negotiation. It was obvious that he wanted to find a way out of this embarrassing situation. Unexpectedly, as soon as Taoist master Xian Jing finished speaking, a loud bang was heard. Taoist Master Xiansheng slammed his chair and stood up angrily. He roared at Taoist Master Xianjing, someone with ulterior motives. Ha, the person with ulterior motives who recommended this kid to be my mistress's disciple is our master. Martial Uncle Xianjing, you want to investigate our master? Then why don't you investigate us first? Taoist Master Xianjing was so angry that he was trembling. His heart was filled with regret. He didn't expect that his words, which were originally meant to find a way out of this embarrassing situation, would once again involve a heavyweight figure like Xinling. Xinling's disciple immediately flew into a rage. Taoist Master Xiansheng was dressed like a commoner. His words also seemed to be pestering Taoist Master Xianjing. I respect you as martial uncle only because of our seniority. Don't think that I don't know your goal. You wanted to ask for a type of medicinal pill that my master gave to my master's wife, saying that it could be used to study and improve your alchemy skills. My master's wife gave you one, but you wanted two. After being rejected by my master's wife, your jealousy turned into hatred. Today, you want to make trouble for my master's wife through this junior brother, am I right? The Taoist masters present were abnormally astute. They immediately understood that this type of pill was not ordinary. For some reason, Lu Ping thought of the spirit-forging pill. Taoist Master Xianjing said angrily, this is utter nonsense. Nonsense. Taoist Master Xiansheng chuckled coldly and didn't argue with him. He continued, your pill concoction skills can only be ranked third in our sect. That kind of pill is not something you can refine. If you really want to study it, one is enough. Isn't it a waste for you to ask for two? Taoist Master Xianjing sneered. My pill concoction skills are unfathomable. How can you understand them? Taoist Master Xiansheng nodded. I don't understand, but I heard that martial uncle's cultivation has been stagnant at the 6th layer of core forging. You have an earth-ranked heaven and earth spirit object, but because you ate too many pills, your cultivation foundation isn't stable and you can't completely fuse with it. If you had another pill like that, advancing to the late stage of core forging would be a cinch. Taoist Master Xianjing was about to open his mouth to refute when Taoist Master Lu Xianling suddenly said, Xiansheng, you are presumptuous. Senior brother Xianjing is your martial uncle. Even if he did that, how can you stand up for him? Taoist Master Lu Xianling reprimanded Taoist Master Xiansheng on the surface, but it was equivalent to confirming that Taoist Master Xianjing's request for the pill was rejected. Taoist Master Xianjing was so angry that his whole body trembled. Taoist Master Xiansheng immediately bowed and said, Master's wife is right. Disciple was rude. After saying that, he sat down on his seat as if nothing had happened. The master and disciple echoed each other's words and cooperated well. The perfected masters all had strange expressions on their faces. Taoist Master Lu thought for a moment and said, after this Lu Ping's trip to Fei Ling Island, I intended to accept him as my disciple. Your master's action is unnecessary. Obviously, Taoist Master Lu wanted to say that he didn't accept Lu Ping as his disciple because of Taoist Master Xiansheng. Taoist Master Xiansheng was like an obedient insect. After hearing this, he said, yes, disciple understands. At this moment, Taoist Master Black Yin suddenly stood up and glanced at Taoist Master Xianjing. He said, boring. After saying that, he only used his gaze to signal to Taoist Master Lu Xianling. He didn't greet anyone else and left with his newly accepted disciple, Yin Zichu, as if there was no one else around. Before they walked 30 feet away, the two of them suddenly disappeared. It was as if the two of them didn't exist at all. Lu Ping watched in amazement. Taoist Master Lu also stood up and said, there are many trivial matters in Chonghua Manor. I'll take my leave first. After saying that, Lu Ping felt something lifting him up. It was the red silk that Taoist Master Lu used to come here. When Lu Ping looked down, he was already in the air. Taoist Master Lu Xianling was standing not far in front of him. Lu Ping only felt that the scenery on both sides of him was connected into a long green brocade. Before Lu Ping could realize what was drawn on the green brocade, he had already landed beside a small lake that was overflowing with the fragrance of flowers and the shade of green willows. As an alchemist, Lu Ping naturally recognized the flowers planted beside the small lake. The weeping willows were all spiritual herbs and materials. Only a late-stage core forging enlightened master like Taoist master Lu Xianling would use spiritual herbs and materials to beautify the living environment. In the center of the small lake was a 90 feet high stone mountain. The entire stone mountain had been carved into a palace for people to live in using a great amount of magic power. Above the main entrance of the palace, there was a wooden plaque made from a 1,000-years-old weeping willow tree. On the plaque were 3 elegant characters: Chonghua Palace. Lu Ping followed Taoist Master Lu to the stone palace at the center of the lake. Lu Ping scanned the lake with his divine sense and discovered that there were many fishes and other creatures in the blood-refining realm. Lu Ping even vaguely discovered that there were blood condensation realm demonic beasts among them. Lu Ping followed Taoist Master Lu to the carved stone palace. Although the periphery of Chonghua Manor was decorated with flowers, the stone palace in the manor was simple. Everything was carved from stone. Lu Ping's heart was filled with questions, but it was not appropriate for him to ask them. At this moment, a young girl in palace attire was hurrying out of the palace. Lu Ping recognized this girl as the one he met a few days ago in the side hall. The young girl was obviously anxious. When she got closer, she raised her head and saw Taoist Master Lu Xianling returning. Then, she saw Lu Ping following behind him. The anxiety on her face immediately eased. She then thought of something and turned to walk towards the back of the palace. "Girl, where are you going?" Taoist Master Lu called out to the young girl. Chapter 143. The young girl turned her head and guiltily glanced at Lu Ping. Then, she bounced over to Spiritual Master Lu and hugged his arm. She said in a sweet voice, "Mom, you're back. I was just about to look for you at the Heaven's Spirit Hall, but I realized that I forgot to bring my flying magic tool. I was just about to go back and get it." Lu Ping curled his lips at the side. This level of lying was too bad. Spiritual Master Lu looked at the young girl with a smile that was not a smile. The young girl knew that it was difficult to lie. She stuck out her tongue, lowered her head, and fiddled with her belt. She said, a few days ago, I listened to Mom's words and went to inform this junior brother about accepting a disciple. Who would have thought that I would only chat with this junior brother and forget to tell him Mom's name? I only remembered this matter today and was just about to rush to the Heaven's Spirit Hall to remind this junior brother. Unexpectedly, Mom had already brought him back. Lu Ping helplessly shook his head as he recalled the scene at the time. It was fortunate that he had guessed correctly. If he had guessed incorrectly, he wouldn't even know how to end the situation. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lingering fear. Lu Ping could see that the young girl still had the temperament of a child. Moreover, she was his teacher's daughter, so he naturally wouldn't pursue this matter. Spiritual Master Lu gave Lu Ping a look of praise and turned his head to the young girl and said, "Crazy girl, how is it chatting? I'm afraid you fought with your senior brother, right? I knew that you weren't reliable, yet you still took on this errand. Fortunately, your senior brother was alert. If something had gone wrong, wouldn't I have lost face as a mother? No one knew a daughter better than a mother." Lu Ping sighed. When the young girl heard Spiritual Master Lu's words, her face was immediately filled with displeasure. She said, "You clearly entered the sect later than me, and your cultivation is also lower than mine. Why is he my senior brother? It's fine if it was senior sister Leng before, but this time, I won't be junior sister no matter what." Enlightened Master Lu glanced at her and the young girl immediately became obedient. Although she was unwilling, her tone of voice changed from one of righteousness to one of complaint, and then from complaint to a low murmur. When it came to the words, "little junior martial sister," even if Lu Ping tried his best to hear them, he couldn't hear them clearly. Lu Ping finally realized that this kind, dignified, and elegant teacher was actually an extremely powerful figure. His aura was so strong that the spoiled young girl was like a mouse that had seen a cat. Lu Ping didn't know where the girl's innocence came from. But then, he remembered the young girl's father who recommended him to enlightened Master Lu, enlightened Master Xian Sheng's master. Perhaps the reason was because of him. Spiritual Master Lu saw that his daughter was obedient and didn't say anything, so he ordered, "Spiritual Master Lu, go and Spiritual Master Ninth Sister." Master Lu was. The young girl was like a cat that had been wronged. She lowered her head and said, "Oh." She walked out of Chonghua Manor with small steps. Then, like a bird that had flown out of its cage, she cheered and flew towards the sky, fluttering like a fairy. Spiritual Master Lu asked Lu Ping about the situation of his cultivation. Lu Ping answered them one by one and took the opportunity to ask for advice on the difficulties in his cultivation. Spiritual Master Lu casually answered them, and with a few words, Lu Ping felt like he was suddenly enlightened. The benefits of having a teacher were immediately apparent. Regarding the matter of taking in disciples, Lu Ping didn't ask, and Spiritual Master Lu didn't explain. The two of them seemed to have a tacit understanding and only talked about some cultivation matters. After a while, he heard a delicate cry outside the manor, "I'm back. The other sisters will be here soon." If it wasn't a young girl, who else could it be? He really didn't see her, but he heard her voice first. Lu Ping turned his head and saw that other than the young girl, there was another person who followed in. It was Ling Qian. When Lu Ping and Ling Qian saw each other, they were both stunned. Lu Ping immediately felt relieved. With Ling Qian's aptitude, it was only right for her to be a disciple of Spiritual Master Lu. On the contrary, a trace of curiosity flashed through Ling Qian's cold eyes. Ling Qian went forward to greet Spiritual Master Lu and stood in front of Lu Ping. The young girl stood behind Lu Ping in a well-behaved manner. She pouted her cherry lips and looked at Lu Ping as if she was angry. After a while, 4 female cultivators in palace robes entered Chonghua Manor. After greeting Spiritual Master Lu, they stood below him in order. When the female cultivators saw Lu Ping, they were also quite surprised, but they still greeted him with a smile. Lu Ping didn't dare to be negligent and called each of them senior sister. When Spiritual Master Lu saw that everyone had arrived, he pointed at Lu Ping and said, "This is my new direct disciple today, Lu Ping." After saying that, he gestured to Lu Ping and said, "Come up and greet the senior and junior sisters." Lu Ping saw that Spiritual Master Lu's aura was astonishing. After all the disciples came in, they all had a dignified and courteous appearance. He didn't dare to be negligent and once again stepped forward to greet them one by one. Spiritual Master Lu pointed at a young woman who looked to be around 30 years old and said, "This is your second senior sister, Li Xuanru." Lu Ping didn't have time to think about why it wasn't the eldest senior sister, but it was obvious that the senior sister in front of him was a core forging master. He hurriedly stepped forward and bowed, "Little brother Lu Ping greets senior sister." Li Xuanru smiled and said, "Ninth junior brother has a good cultivation, no wonder you can enter master's eyes. From now on, you must work hard to cultivate and not let master's nurturing of you be in vain." Lu Ping hurriedly nodded, but he saw Spiritual Master Li Xuanru take out a piece of cold jade and hand it to Lu Ping. She said, "This is a 1,000-year-old cold jade that I obtained when I went out to travel in the past. Today, I will give it to you as a greeting gift to congratulate junior brother for entering master's tutelage. I hope junior brother doesn't dislike it." Lu Ping saw that the quality of this 1,000-year-old cold jade was pure, and there seemed to be a trace of mist on its surface. This was clearly a top-grade spiritual material used to refine a top-grade water attribute magic tool. Lu Ping was at a loss and looked at Spiritual Master Lu, who was sitting at the head of the table. Spiritual Master Lu smiled and said, "Since it's a gift from your second senior sister, just accept it. You and your brother don't need to be so polite." Lu Ping hurriedly expressed his thanks. Then, the tall third senior sister, Zhao Xuanji, gave him a talisman that sealed a heavenly water curtain spell. It could be used to save his life at a critical moment. Fourth senior sister, Wang Xianjing, didn't look very old. She had a plump figure and looked like a good wife and mother. She gave a pair of green jade hairpins to Lu Ping as a greeting gift. She smiled and said, "I don't have anything good here. Junior brother, if you have a girl you like in the future, you can give this pair of green jade hairpins to her as a greeting gift." Lu Ping didn't expect that his fourth senior sister, who looked the most virtuous on the surface, would make such a joke. He immediately blushed and the other women giggled. Even spiritual master Lu laughed and scolded, "You, old fourth, don't have any proper manners." Lu Ping was about to greet the next senior sister when Wang Xianjing took out a jade slip and said, "Your sixth senior sister, Dong Ziyu, is in seclusion to break through to the core forging stage. She doesn't have time to come out and see you. She heard that you are proficient in swordsmanship, so she asked me to give you a jade slip she obtained from a senior cultivator's cave." This jade slip recorded a set of water attribute sword technique. Legend has it that it was passed down from Fei Ling sect. "I hope it will be of help to you." When Lu Ping heard that it was a relic of Fei Ling sect, he immediately became interested. However, the occasion wasn't right. He took the jade slip, thanked his sixth senior sister, and moved on to the next senior sister. Seventh senior sister was an 8th layer blood condensation cultivator. She was about the same age as Lu Ping. When she saw Lu Ping greet her, she smiled and said, "Senior sister, I don't have as much wealth as you all, but I do have a little toy with me. I'll give it to ninth junior brother." Lu Ping took the jade slip and looked at it. It was a palm-sized puppet monkey. Seventh senior sister introduced it to him. This puppet monkey is around the late blood refining realm according to the spirit stones. It's usually very clever. Junior brother, you can put it in the cave to serve tea and tidy up the place. It'll save you a lot of time. So this is a puppet? Lu Ping thought to himself. During the apprenticeship ceremony, he saw Ji Zixuan become the disciple of enlightened Master Xian Huai, who was an expert in puppetry. After thanking seventh senior sister, Lu Ping put the puppet monkey into his storage ring and looked at his eighth senior sister, Ling Qian. The relationship between the two of them was quite complicated. Lu Ping became famous in the Zhenling side hall when he defeated Ling Qian, who was a 9th layer blood refining realm cultivator, and broke through to the 8th layer blood refining realm during the battle. After that, Lu Ping, Yao Yong, Du Feng, Shi Lingling, Zhong Jian, Hu Lili, and the others formed a small circle. Because Ling Qian was close to Shi Lingling, Hu Lili, Ma Yu, and the others, she was also in the circle. However, Lu Ping rarely interacted with her, and the two of them felt awkward whenever they met. Yao Yong and the others knew about the relationship between the two of them, so they didn't expose it. Lu Ping walked up to Ling Qian and greeted, "Hello, 8th senior sister." Ling Qian had always been cold. When she saw that Lu Ping had become her junior brother, she felt a little uncomfortable and didn't know how to interact with him. Seeing that he was greeting her, she could only play along and said, "Hello, junior brother Lu." After that, she gave a gift to Lu Ping, a box of 500 years old spirit herbs. Ling Qian had some understanding of Lu Ping. She knew that he was learning alchemy, so she prepared these spirit herbs. When Lu Ping saw that most of the spirit herbs were used to concoct mid and late blood condensation pills, he knew that Ling Qian had put in a lot of effort. He thanked sincerely, "Thank you, senior sister Leng." Enlightened Master Lu and the others were smart people. When they saw the awkwardness between the two, they knew that they knew each other for a long time. Something must have happened between them, but they didn't want to expose it. Only the young girl at the end of the line giggled and said, "So you know 8th senior sister." The young girl jumped forward. Without waiting for Lu Ping to answer, she stretched her hand in front of him and said, "It's finally my turn. My name is Jiang Zixian. I originally wanted to be the 9th senior sister, but mother let you be in front of me." As she spoke, she looked at spiritual Master Lu with hidden bitterness and said, "But this way, I can ask for a greeting gift from you again, ninth senior brother." After saying that, she tilted her head and thought for a while. "If I'm not satisfied, I won't call you senior brother." After saying that, she turned around and glanced at enlightened Master Lu. When she saw enlightened Master Lu looking at her with a smile on his face, she became more and more confident. The other senior sisters were also waiting to see how Lu Ping, their ninth junior brother, was going to get past their junior sister. Lu Ping thought to himself, "Luckily I'm prepared." Hence, he took out a jade bottle from his interspatial ring. Before he could say anything, his junior martial sister, Jiang Zixuan, pointed at the interspatial ring on Lu Ping's left ring finger and exclaimed in surprise, "Aya, you actually have an interspatial mystic instrument. That's a high-grade spatial mystic instrument, it's very rare." Chapter 144. Although Lu Ping usually wore his storage ring on his hand, in order to not attract attention, he used a spell to hide it. This time, he was in his teacher's cave residence, so he naturally didn't have to worry too much about it. Besides, it was extremely impolite to do so, so he didn't use a spell to hide it. High-grade spatial magic tools, especially small decorative magic tools like the storage ring, were the most precious. Generally, even core forging Taoist masters rarely had one. In Chonghua Mansion, only Taoist Master Lu and second senior sister Li Xuanru had two. The other two core forging stage senior sisters only used storage belts and small universe sleeves. The other senior sisters still used exquisite storage pouches. When Lu Ping saw that all the senior sisters were looking at the storage ring on his hand, he was quite surprised. Lu Ping touched his nose in embarrassment and said, "I got it by luck on Fei Ling Island. It's not worth mentioning." Jiang Zixuan didn't give up. High-grade spatial magic tool, and a storage ring. It's not worth mentioning. After she finished speaking, her exquisite face had an expression that said, "Are you kidding me?" Lu Ping didn't know how to answer, so he could only look at his teacher, Taoist Master Lu, with a pleading gaze. Taoist Master Lu saw that Lu Ping was embarrassed, but he still had a smile on his face. No matter how he looked at it, Lu Ping could see a trace of gloating hidden in his expression. Taoist Master Lu finally spoke, "Girl, don't mess around. Don't you want to see your ninth senior brother's gift?" Jiang Zixuan finally remembered her previous request and looked at the jade bottle in Lu Ping's hand. When Lu Ping saw that his junior sister finally remembered her greeting gift, he handed the jade bottle to Jiang Zixuan, who was already impatient, and said, "This is the fragrant pill I refined. There are 10 pills with different fragrances inside. Junior sister, you can choose one of the fragrant pills according to your preferences. After taking it, your whole body will emit this fragrance for 3 years." Jiang Zixuan was still a child, so when she saw these strange pills, her interest was naturally piqued. She quickly pestered Lu Ping to ask him what the 10 pills smelled like, and Lu Ping answered them one by one. Seeing that his junior martial sister was finally satisfied, Lu Ping took out another 5 bottles of myriad fragrance pellets and said, "I've concocted quite a lot this time, and I'm planning to give them to the senior martial sisters. However, I don't know what kind of fragrance you all like, so I can only choose one of each. If senior martial sisters have any requests in the future, just come to me." The 5 senior sisters were quite happy to receive Lu Ping's gifts. Everyone loved beauty, and cultivators were no exception. Although it was easy for the girls to carry the fragrance on their bodies as cultivators, it was a waste of time to use the incense too frequently. Moreover, there were many inconveniences. Using magic power to transform the incense, although the amount of magic power wasted was negligible, it was a long-term process to maintain the fragrance on their bodies. The magic power that came out of their bodies would accumulate over a long period of time, and for the cultivators who were gathering magic power for cultivation, it was not a small burden. The fragrant pill, on the other hand, was a process that came from the inside out. It was not like incense, where the fragrance was attached to clothes. Although it was not worth mentioning, it was really pleasing to the women. Fourth senior sister Wang Xianjing said curiously, I didn't expect ninth junior brother to know how to refine pills. Junior brother, have you already become a pill refiner? Lu Ping nodded, it's not difficult to refine the blood-condensing pill now. Zhao Xuanji, the third senior sister, suddenly thought of something and said, when I came here, I heard from the disciples that there was a disciple who used the retaining youth pill as a gift in this apprenticeship ceremony. Could it be that you refined it? Although Zhao Xuanji was asking about Lu Ping, her eyes were looking at Lu Xianling. Lu Zhenren smiled, third brother, don't play tricks on me. This time, I received a bottle of ninth brother's Agerasia pill. It can keep my appearance unchanged for 300 years. It was made by ninth brother. Jiang Zixuan was originally thinking about which flower to choose for the fragrant pill. When she heard that Lu Zhenren had the Agerasia pill, her eyes lit up and she immediately forgot about the fragrant pill in her hand. She skipped to Lu Zhenren and said, Mother, the Agerasia pill, let me see it. Just when Lu Zhenren admitted that Lu Ping was the one who refined the Agerasia pill, Lu Ping suddenly felt that he was being stared at by several drooling eyes. Even Ling Qian, who was next to him, had an expression of disbelief and eagerness. Lu Ping was sweating in his heart. He knew that if he didn't take a stand, he would definitely not be able to get away with it today. The female cultivators in the Chonghua mansion were definitely not good people. As long as Lu Zhenren, as his master, was strong in front of the Zenrens in Jinling, he knew what these senior sisters would do. Lu Zhenren, who was sitting in his seat, seemed to have really forgotten that there was a male disciple like Lu Ping. He only cared about letting his daughter admire the Agerasia pill in her hand. Lu Ping quickly recorded the dozens of spirit herbs needed to refine the Agerasia pill in the jade slip and said, Senior sisters, these are the names of the nearly 30 spirit herbs needed to refine the Agerasia pill. Senior sisters can slowly collect them. If they are all collected, junior brother will open the furnace and refine it for senior sisters. It's just that junior brother's alchemy skills are not good enough. The success rate of the Agerasia pill is barely 30%. I'm afraid that a lot will be wasted. At this time, the second senior sister spoke, junior brother Jiu is really generous. Since little Jiu is so loyal, we as senior sisters are too polite. From now on, we are a family, and we should love and help each other. The senior sisters giggled non-stop. Lu Ping didn't expect that the second senior sister, Li Xuanru, who gave him the most impression of being the most prudent, would actually say such words. He was suddenly speechless. At this time, Lu Zhenren finally satisfied his daughter's curiosity. Without waiting for Jiang Zixuan to pester Lu Ping to refine the Agerasia pill, he said, Well, you have seen old Jiu's ability. Alchemy can be done. Seeing that we are from the same sect, old Jiu is naturally easy to talk to. However, alchemy is a waste of time. Everyone, don't let this quasi-master delay his cultivation because of alchemy. Seeing that Lu Zhenren was serious, the girls also respectfully said, Yes. Enlightened Master Lu then turned to Lu Ping and said, Old Jiu, you gave me the face-halting pellet, which helped me gain face in the grand ceremony. Your senior martial sisters also gave you a greeting gift, so naturally, I also prepared a small gift for you. Lu Zhenren opened his hand. On it was a clear bead that contained a warm cloud chi. Lu Ping's eyes lit up. It was the spirit-gathering pearl that Lu Ping had once obtained. Lu Zhenren looked at Lu Ping and said with a smile, It seems that you recognize this item. This spirit-gathering pearl is placed in the earth vein, and after 2 or 3 years, it can produce a miniature spirit vein. I know that your cave residence is not built in Tianling Mountain, so I gave you this bead with the intention of telling you to cultivate diligently. After Lu Ping thanked Lu Zhenren continued, Since there is a direct disciple under my tutelage, I will open a forum and give a lecture in 7 days. Second girl, you will be in charge of this matter. At that time, the in-name disciples and other disciples of the sect can all listen. Second senior sister Li Xuanru nodded respectfully. Lu Zhenren then ordered everyone to leave. At the same time, he told Li Xuanru to arrange for Lu Ping to stay in Chonghua Manor for the time being. Lu Ping knew that Lu Zhenren's lecture this time was actually targeted at him. After Li Xuanru made the necessary arrangements, Lu Ping suddenly remembered the sea wave listening technique, one of the two major techniques that made up the North Sea wave listening technique. When Lu Ping first entered the blood condensation realm, he only received the technique for the entire blood condensation realm. Now that he had become Lu Zhenren's direct disciple, he had surpassed the elite disciples of the sect and became a direct disciple. Naturally, he was qualified to receive the full set of the sea wave listening technique. Lu Ping told Li Xuanru about this matter. Li Xuanru giggled and said, "Junior brother, you still don't know, right? Master's branch mostly cultivates water attribute techniques. Therefore, the sect has many water attribute techniques here. There is no need to go to the Heaven's Spirit Hall to find techniques." Having said that, she directly handed a jade slip to Lu Ping and said, the sea wave listening technique was one of the true techniques of Fei Ling's sect in the past. However, after Fei Ling's sect was destroyed, the sect's techniques were not complete. Although I don't cultivate this technique, I often study it and compare it with my own techniques. It's not just me. Many cultivators in the sect who cultivate water attribute techniques, in addition to their own techniques, also have to compare their techniques with other techniques. This way, they can learn from each other's strengths and make up for their weaknesses. Lu Ping knew that Li Xuanru was using this opportunity to give him pointers. After receiving the jade slip, he quickly thanked her. After settling down in Chonghua Manor, Lu Ping saw that Li Xuanru still hadn't left. He asked, "Second senior sister, in the hall today, other than sixth senior sister, why didn't I hear Master mention eldest senior sister and fifth senior sister?" Li Xuanru's expression changed. She sighed and said, "Both of them have fallen." Hearing this, Lu Ping knew that he had asked the wrong question. Just when he didn't know what to say, Li Xuanru continued, "This matter has to be told to you sooner or later. Eldest senior sister, Wu Zimin, was the first disciple that Master had accepted when she had just entered the core forging realm. Naturally, Master had high hopes for eldest senior sister. Unfortunately, eldest senior sister's talent was limited. The core forging realm was an extremely difficult barrier to break through. Although under Master's supervision, eldest senior sister cultivated very diligently, in the end, she didn't break through to the core forging realm before her lifespan ran out. She died more than 100 years ago. Only your third senior sister, fourth senior sister, and I have seen her." Lu Ping was shocked. Master's cultivation is extremely high. Even she can't help eldest senior sister advance to the core forging realm. Li Xuanru looked at Lu Ping and said solemnly, "Master naturally has a way to help her break through to the core forging realm. However, if she relied on external forces, even if she formed a gold core, she would only be the weakest existence among the core forging enlightened masters. Moreover, it would be difficult for her to take a step forward in her life." Eldest senior sister's talent was mediocre, but she was extremely arrogant. She wholeheartedly wanted to rely on her own efforts to break through to the core forging realm. Therefore, she would rather use up her lifespan than use this method. After hearing this, Lu Ping's mind was in a mess. He didn't know what to think. Master Li Xuanru looked at him and continued, "Fifth junior sister's death is a regrettable matter for our Chonghua sect. It happened 30 years ago. In order to find an opportunity to break through to the core forging realm, fifth junior sister went out to travel with a few friends. It is said that they found an ancient ruin in the buffer sea near Autumn Cloud Island. However, they later disappeared in that area. The jade tablet of peace in Chonghua sect was broken. After Master found out that fifth junior sister had died, he went to investigate, but in the end, he found nothing." Hearing Li Xuanru mention Autumn Cloud Island, Lu Ping was startled. He couldn't help but say, "Autumn Cloud Island?" Chapter 145. Li Xuanru saw Lu Ping's surprise as if he knew something, so she asked, "What is it, junior brother? did you notice something wrong? Lu Ping nodded. When I returned from the Demon Sea, I lost my way and arrived at Autumn Cloud Island first. However, I accidentally discovered that the Chiu family, which occupies Autumn Cloud Island, and the leader of the Overturned Seas faction were secretly in contact. Li Xuanru's expression froze when she heard this. The Overturned Seas faction. This is new. Junior brother, does anyone else know about this? Lu Ping saw Li Xuanru's serious expression and knew that things were not as simple as they seemed. He said, I told Lu Ziyuan, the immortal who led the team when I was in the side courtyard. Li Xuanru suddenly said, oh, it's him, the 18 generals of the North Sea. Guo Xuanshan's disciple is indeed extraordinary. There's no harm in telling him, he should know the severity of this. However, I must report this to Master. Junior brother, stay here and cultivate in peace. Wait for Master's lecture in 7 days. It will be of great benefit to you. With that, she left without waiting for Lu Ping's response. Lu Ping wanted to ask what the 18 generals of the North Sea were, but Li Jinren was already gone. In the past 7 days, Lu Ping focused all his attention on the Sea Wave Listening Scripture's follow-up cultivation method. He combined the Sea Wave Listening Scripture with the Flying Spirit Sea Dance Scripture, and as expected, the North Sea Wave Listening Scripture was able to reach the mid-avatar stage. However, Lu Ping's current cultivation base and knowledge were too shallow, so he could only barely combine the two cultivation methods. As for the contents of the Sea Wave Listening Scripture, Lu Ping would have to wait until his cultivation base reached the core forging stage before he could continue to perfect it. 7 days later, Lu Xianling of the Chenghua House began his lecture. The disciples all rushed to the island to listen. Lu Ping arrived at the front hall of the Chenghua House early in the morning, but found that there were already more than 30 registered disciples waiting outside the hall. They were arranged according to their age, quietly waiting for Lu Jinren to begin. According to the rules set by enlightened Master Lu of the Chenghua Mansion, the disciples were not arranged according to who entered the sect, but according to their age. Therefore, Lu Ping was ranked before Jiang Zixuan and became the 9th direct disciple. Seeing Lu Ping's arrival, many disciples looked at him with envy. Lu Ping noticed that more than half of them were in the late blood condensation realm. There were even 2 unnamed disciples who had reached the core forging realm. This made Lu Ping secretly amazed at the strength of Chenghua sect. Lu Ping looked at the lake in the center of the island and discovered that there were already hundreds of demonic beasts swimming in the lake facing the Manor of Great Light. Among them, there were even 20 to 30 that had powerful demonic qi. Clearly, they had reached the blood condensation realm. On the shore of the lake, there were also hundreds of Jinling cultivators meditating. These were the inner disciples who opened their cave abodes on Tianling Mountain. Most of them had not reached the mid-blood condensation realm yet, so they were not qualified to be apprenticed to a master. This time, they also came to listen to the lecture, hoping that it would be of help to their cultivation. This was one of the reasons why most of the inner disciples were willing to open their immortals' caves on Tianling Mountain. Apart from the large spirit vein on Tianling Mountain, they could often have the opportunity to listen to a core forging enlightened master's lecture. The second direct disciple to arrive was Ling Qian. Lu Ping nodded at her. After that, all the senior sisters arrived, leaving only the 1st, 5th, 6th, and 14th praying mats in the hall. When it was time for the lecture, enlightened Master Lu, accompanied by his daughter, Jiang Zixuan, came to the main hall. Enlightened Master Lu sat in the center while Jiang Zixuan sat on the 10th praying mat behind Lu Ping. Enlightened Master Lu tapped the jade chime lightly. Dang! The 200 cultivators in the hall, outside the hall, and on the shore of the lake, immediately quieted down. Enlightened Master Lu started with the Lin-Hai wave listening technique. This also meant that this lecture was actually for Lu Ping. The fact that the cultivators were able to listen to the lecture was also thanks to Lu Ping. The cultivators would naturally remember this favor in the future. Rather than saying that enlightened Master Lu was giving a lecture, it was better to call it a practice. This was because there were many things in cultivation that could only be understood and not taught in words. Enlightened Master Lu could only demonstrate it through spells and images. As for how much one could comprehend, it depended on one's comprehension. When she was giving a lecture, a water person suddenly appeared in midair in the hall. This water person was vivid and lifelike. The blood vessels, bones, flesh, and organs inside were all transparent and visible. It was many times more brilliant than Lu Ping's art of deceiving the heavens and crossing the sea. Enlightened Master Lu started with the most basic lecture and advanced step by step. His words were plain and smooth, but it did not lose its brilliance. At the same time, with the water person in the hall as a demonstration, Lu Ping quickly became engrossed. Lu Ping originally treated this lecture as a reference for his cultivation. After all, the cultivation method that he cultivated was not the Lin-Hai wave listening technique. However, after Enlightened Master Lu started speaking, Lu Ping realized that he was gravely mistaken. The Lin-Hai wave listening technique originated from the North Sea wave listening technique. Enlightened Master Lu's late core forging stage cultivation and several hundred years of experience and vision were not something that Lu Ping could surmise. It was only the first day of the Dharma assembly, but Enlightened Master Lu had raised many opinions that Lu Ping had never heard of. Many of the problems that Lu Ping had accumulated during his daily cultivation were easily solved. Lu Ping's daily cultivation mistakes were also discovered and corrected in time. Lu Ping suddenly felt as if he had been reborn. He also had a faint regret in his heart that he did not set up an abode on Tianling Mountain. That way, he could go and listen to the other Enlightened Master's lectures. Afterward, Enlightened Master Lu explained in detail the 8 methods of listening to waves, which Lu Ping remembered firmly in his mind, not daring to forget a single word. This was of great help to him in integrating and organizing the North Sea listening to waves. Enlightened Master Lu also compared the water attribute cultivation methods related to the North Sea listening to waves. These cultivation methods were not limited to the water attribute cultivation methods Xinling had collected. Instead, they used Enlightened Master Lu's hundreds of years of experience as a reference, allowing Lu Ping to broaden his horizons. At the later stage of the Dharma assembly, Enlightened Master Lu even quoted from other sources. Whether it was the cultivation world or the mortal world, whether it was the North Sea, the East Sea, the South Sea, or even the Middle Continent, the North Ice Plains, the South Mountains, and the West Desert, which Lu Ping had never heard of, Enlightened Master Lu was involved in all of them. This made all the cultivators, including Lu Ping, feel respect for Enlightened Master Lu's extensive knowledge. At the same time, it also made Lu Ping yearn for the world outside the North Sea. The Dharma assembly went on for 9 days. The Dharma assembly went on for 9 days. In between Taoist Lu's speech, the cultivators would casually discuss and exchange their cultivation experiences. Lu Ping also took the opportunity to ask his 3 senior sisters in the core forging stage for guidance. On the last day of the Dharma assembly, Taoist Lu even allowed his disciples to ask any questions. Taoist Lu answered them one by one. Of course, it was only limited to his personal disciples and registered disciples. The cultivators on the shore did not have this kind of treatment. This also allowed Lu Ping to get to know many cultivators from the Chonghua mansion and gain some understanding of their cultivation methods. After the Dharma assembly was over, Lu Ping once again felt the surging life force in his blood vessels. Lu Ping knew that this Dharma assembly was a huge accumulation for him. This accumulation, as Lu Ping continued to experience it, would once again usher in a rapid improvement in his cultivation. On the first day after the Dharma assembly, Lu Ping asked his teacher, Taoist Lu, to return to Huangli Island. Taoist Lu did not ask him to stay and only encouraged him to cultivate diligently. Lu Ping bade farewell to Taoist Lu and left Chonghua Mansion. However, he met Taoist Li Xuanru, who had specially come to find him. After Taoist Lu's cultivation reached the late core forging stage, he began to frequently go into closed-door cultivation to prepare for the manifestation stage. Thus, The matters of Chonghua Mansion were taken care of by his second senior sister, Daoist Li Xuanru. Li Xuanru asked Lu Ping about his future plans. After Jinling cultivators reached the mid-blood condensation stage and became an elite disciple of the sect, they had to take responsibility for the development of the sect. Before this, Lu Ping had always been in the Demon Sea, so he had never taken on this responsibility. Now, he could no longer escape this responsibility. There were many kinds of responsibilities. For example, Master Immortal Lu used to be the leader of the team in Jinling side courtyard and was responsible for nurturing the sect's reserve strength. As an alchemist, Lu Ping could also enter the alchemy pavilion to refine pills for the sect, and so on. The sect would naturally give him appropriate rewards. Daoist Li suggested, "Junior brother, you have successfully refined the face-retaining pill. You are only one step away from becoming a grandmaster. If you become a full-time alchemist in the sect, you will be a very profitable person. In the future, when the other junior brothers and sisters ask you to refine pills for them, it will be cheaper." Lu Ping understood the situation of the alchemy pavilion from Daoist Li, and then politely declined. At the apprenticeship ceremony, Daoist Xianjing, who was ranked third in alchemy in Jinling, and Daoist Lu became enemies because of Lu Ping's refinement of the face-retaining pill. After becoming a full-time alchemist in the sect, Lu Ping had to refine a certain number of pills and a certain type of pills for the sect every once in a while. Lu Ping was a carefree person by nature and did not want to be bound by this. In the end, Lu Ping decided to join Master Immortal Lu's sea patrol team on Huangli Island. This way, it would be convenient for him to guard his cave abode. Moreover, Master Immortal Lu, Yao Yong, Du Feng, and other good friends would all be there. After listening to Lu Ping's thoughts, Daoist Li smiled and said, "That's good too. Junior brother Lu Ziyuan is also a cautious person. Our sect thinks highly of him as a candidate to advance to the core forging stage. He is also the fourth disciple of Uncle Guoxian Shan, who is on good terms with our Zhonghua lineage. However, the sea patrol is quite dangerous. Many cultivators who go out to the sea are cunning and desperate. Junior brother, you have to be careful." Only then did Lu Ping know the origin of Master Immortal Lu's master. He remembered that Li Xuanru had mentioned that Master Immortal Lu was the 18 generals of the North Sea, so he asked. Daoist Li Xuanru smiled and said, "It seems that junior brother has really been living in a paradise in the Demon Sea all these years. You don't know anything about the situation in the North Sea." The so-called 18 generals of the North Sea refers to the 18 cultivators with the best battle results in the blood condensation realm since the Forbidden Sea was opened. My Jinling sect has 2 cultivators among them, and junior brother Lu Ziyuan is one of them. Through Daoist Li's explanation, Lu Ping learned that 2 years ago, when Master Immortal Lu had just advanced to the 9th layer of the blood condensation realm, he was caught in a fierce battle. At that time, Master Immortal Lu was ambushed by 3 9th layer blood condensation realm monsters. In the end, Master Immortal Lu killed 2 of them and chased the 3rd one for thousands of miles in the Demon Sea. After that, Master Immortal Lu fought his way out of the encirclement and killed more than 10 blood condensation monsters along the way. Finally, he safely returned to Huangli Island. This battle made Master Immortal Lu famous among the blood condensation realm cultivators in the North Sea, and he became one of the 18 generals. Lu Ping rubbed his chin and thought to himself, "Looks like I've really missed out on a lot of interesting things in the past 5 years." The funny thing was that a few months ago, Xian Ling sect's Han Weiyun, under the influence of Xian Ling sect's propaganda, ousted a wandering cultivator from the North Sea from his position as one of the 18 generals of the North Sea. The reason was that Han Weiyun was ambushed by a primordial giant crocodile in the Demon Sea. Xian Ling sect's propaganda claimed that Han Weiyun successfully led the Xian Ling sect cultivators out of the encirclement of 200 demon soldiers led by 4 late blood condensation realm primordial giant crocodiles and a dozen other late blood condensation monsters. Chapter 146. Lu Ping was speechless after listening to Xian Ling sect's propaganda. As one of the participants in the battle, he naturally knew the situation better than anyone else. Xianling sect, West Hill Island, and overflowing ocean gang only had a total of 70 to 80 cultivators after they broke out of the encirclement. After that, they were hunted down by the monster beasts, and Han Weiyun's decision to form the Dao soldier array at the last moment was enough to tarnish his reputation among the North Ocean cultivators. However, Xianling sect's propaganda was clearly to strike first and gain the upper hand. After all, although Han Weiyun's methods were clumsy, he had indeed led his sect's disciples out of the encirclement and avoided being annihilated. And Lu Ping also smelled a conspiracy. After the battle, Ai Butao of West Hill Island, who was originally one of the 18 generals of the North Sea, did not stand out to clarify the truth. Instead, when Xianling sect publicized Han Weiyun's battle achievements, they also praised Ai Butao, raising his reputation quite a bit. There were a few rogue cultivators who followed Ai Butao out, but Lu Ping didn't need to think to know that even if they hadn't been separated, they would have wisely kept their mouths shut. To them, both Xianling sect and West Hill Island's Ai family were giants that they couldn't afford to offend. After bidding farewell to second senior sister Li Xuanru, Lu Ping arrived at Jinling's alchemy pavilion under Li Xuanru's guidance. The alchemy pavilion was located on the east side of Tianling Mountain, on a peak called Danding Peak. The peak of Tianling Mountain had been opened up by an almighty master of Jinling, and the underground lava was drawn up to be used for alchemy. Of course, this was only the fire used by ordinary alchemists. As for whether Jinling had a spiritual fire of heaven and earth for alchemy, it was not something that Lu Ping knew. Lu Ping had just arrived at Danding Peak's alchemy pavilion when he saw a person hurrying towards him. Lu Ping was about to ask the person where the alchemy pavilion's enlightened master was when the person recognized Lu Ping. "It's you." Lu Ping stared blankly. Only now did he see that the person who had come was the arrogant cultivator who had once asked for his spirit grass, the disciple of Daoist master Xian Jing, Tao Zifang, who had become enemies with his teacher, Daoist master Lu, during the apprenticeship ceremony. "Hee, so it's senior brother Tao." Lu Ping replied with a fake smile. Lu Ping didn't have a good impression of Tao Zifang, not to mention that their teachers didn't have a good relationship. Lu Ping's answer was obviously perfunctory. "What are you doing here?" Tao Zifang obviously looked down on Lu Ping and questioned him directly. Lu Ping chuckled. He could guess something from the other person's tone, but he still said slowly, "I'm here to find the enlightened master. Senior brother Tao also knows that I can refine the face retaining pill, so it's natural for me to obtain the qualifications of our sect's alchemist. Don't tell me that I need senior brother Tao's permission to come to this alchemy pavilion." Tao Zifang was obviously choked by Lu Ping's sarcastic words, but he couldn't block the door and stop him from entering, so he snorted loudly and walked away. Lu Ping shrugged indifferently and walked directly into the alchemy pavilion. Lu Ping could now be considered a person with a backer. Thinking back to when Lu Ping refused to give Tao Zifang face, Tao Zifang could point at Lu Ping and shout at him. Now the two still didn't have a good relationship, but Tao Zifang didn't dare to be as arrogant as before. However, what Lu Ping didn't know was that just after Lu Ping stepped into the alchemy pavilion, Tao Zifang returned. After looking at the door of the alchemy pavilion, he went in from the side door and went directly to the back hall of the alchemy pavilion. This was the first time Lu Ping came here. He asked a few cultivators and found the enlightened master in the back hall of the alchemy pavilion. "You're the new disciple that senior sister Lu received who can refine the face retaining pill." The enlightened master was very interested in Lu Ping. "Yes." Lu Ping felt very awkward under the burning gaze of the enlightened master. "Why do you only want to become our sect's pill refiner? With your strength, if you become our sect's professional pill refiner, the sect will definitely nurture you. At that time, all kinds of spirit herbs will be given to you first." The enlightened master obviously cherished talent. There were two types of pill refiners in Jinling. One was the professional pill refiner who belonged to the alchemy pavilion, and the other was the pill refiner who only reported to the alchemy pavilion. There were many benefits to becoming a professional pill refiner in Jinling. Enlightened Master Li Xianru also suggested that Lu Ping join the alchemy pavilion, but Lu Ping tactfully declined. However, Enlightened Master Li still suggested that Lu Ping report his pill refiner qualifications to the sect. This way, although Lu Ping couldn't enjoy the preferential supply of the sect like the pill refiners in Alchemy Pavilion, in order to attract pill refiners, the sect had more preferential measures for pill refiners who reported to the Alchemy Pavilion. After listening to Lu Ping's explanation, the enlightened master nodded helplessly. Alright, but in order to become our sect's pill refiner, you still have to pass our sect's test. For our pill refiner test, other than concocting the blood condensation pill, you will also be given the recipe for any mid or late blood condensation pill. As long as you have a success rate of more than 50% for each pill, you will be able to become a pill refiner. However, the sect will only prepare 2 sets of spirit herbs for each pill. You only need to use 1 set of spirit herbs to successfully concoct the pill. Before Lu Ping arrived, he had already heard these rules from enlightened Master Li Xianru. Not only that, if he succeeded, the sect would naturally take back the pills. If he failed, Lu Ping would have to compensate for the loss of spirit herbs. These rules made Lu Ping very helpless. Out of duty, the enlightened master explained the rules to Lu Ping and said, then choose 2 pills. After saying that, he clapped his hands and a pill refiner boy walked into the hall. On the tray in his hands were 2 cylindrical magic tools. These 2 magic tools could block the probing of a cultivator's divine sense. There were 10 bamboo sticks in each. The boy looked at Lu Ping strangely, but Lu Ping didn't mind. He casually took out a bamboo stick from each of the cylindrical magic tools and handed them to the enlightened master. The enlightened master took a look and looked at the boy thoughtfully. Then, he said to Lu Ping, looks like your luck isn't too good. Lu Ping took the bamboo sticks and looked at them helplessly. 1000 chance pill, scarlet blood pill. These 2 types of medicinal pellets were the highest grade medicinal pellets for mid and late blood condensation realm cultivators. They were also the most difficult to concoct. Yet, Lu Ping managed to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It was clear how bad his luck was today. Especially the scarlet blood pill. This pill was originally a type of blood spirit pill. Lu Ping had concocted this type of pill many times in the Monster Sea. However, this scarlet blood pill was a fire attribute blood spirit pill. It was the bane of Lu Ping's pure water attribute arcane energy. Lu Ping concocted pills for his own needs. He had never concocted a scarlet blood pill before. Lu Ping helplessly followed the boy to the underground pill refinement room of the pill refinement pavilion. The real location of the pill refinement pavilion was in the belly of Dan Ding Peak. Here, the pill refinement pavilion had set up 36 pill refinement rooms of various sizes. They were divided into A, B, C, and D grades. They surrounded the earth fire vein and formed 4 concentric layers. In the outermost layer were 18 D-grade alchemy rooms, and in each of these rooms was a low-grade alchemy furnace with the weakest earth fire. Further in were the C-grade alchemy rooms with 9 mid-grade alchemy furnaces, and naturally, the earth fire energy was much stronger. Further in were the B-grade alchemy rooms with 6 high-grade alchemy furnaces, and the innermost 3 A-grade alchemy rooms with 3 top-grade alchemy furnaces. If Lu Ping wanted to become a pill refiner, he could use the mid-grade pill furnaces in the C-grade pill refinement rooms. Lu Ping followed the boy to the belly of the mountain. The person guarding the C-grade pill refinement rooms was a late blood condensation cultivator. The boy explained the situation to the cultivator. The cultivator glanced at Lu Ping and sneered, C-grade pill refinement rooms are full. Just wait for a while. Lu Ping noticed the other party's obvious teasing tone, but he still asked, then when will the C-grade pill refinement rooms be free? The cultivator replied impatiently, how would I know? These pill refiners are all arrogant. Their reservation time is always delayed. I went to urge them to come out, but they were even angrier than me. Just wait. Anyway, the shortest reservation time is 1 month later. This was obviously an excuse. The longest time to concoct a blood condensation realm pill was 3 to 5 days. When a pill refiner concocted pills, they would usually rest for a while to recover their spiritual energy and divine sense. Then, they would start again after 1 or 2 days. Who would concoct pills continuously for a month? Lu Ping was annoyed, but he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he asked calmly, "Can I use the B-grade pill refinement rooms?" Ha! The cultivator sneered as if he had heard a joke. B-grade pill refinement rooms are only used for core forging realm pills. You don't have the qualifications. The cultivator dragged his voice as if he had heard a joke. Seeing Lu Ping's expressionless face, the cultivator thought he was trying to restrain himself. He rolled his eyes and said, "There are still some D-grade pill refinement rooms available. Junior brother, why don't you choose one?" The cultivator had a questioning expression on his face. His eyes were filled with ridicule. He was sure that Lu Ping would be angered by him. Lu Ping smiled and said, "Sure." The cultivator looked at Lu Ping's nonchalant reply as if he didn't hear it clearly. He was stunned for a moment. Lu Ping didn't have time to pay attention to this person. He said, "Lead the way." The cultivator finally reacted. His face turned red and the veins on his temples twitched. Just as he was about to say something nasty, he suddenly tilted his head and calmed down. He laughed evilly and said, "Junior brother really has a card up your sleeve. However, the Dan Concoction Pavilion has a rule. If a cultivator wants to pass the assessment, they can only use the pill furnaces in the pill refinement rooms. To prevent cheating, if Junior brother has any tools, you can't use them." "I know." Lu Ping coldly looked at the cultivator. The cultivator suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He didn't know why he panicked, but he still said, "Since Junior brother knows, then the servant will bring Junior brother to D-grade pill refinement room number 9. Not long after Lu Ping left, the cultivator let out a long sigh. He composed himself and turned to look at the person who walked out of the pill refinement room behind him. He said, "Junior brother, are you satisfied?" The person smiled and said, "Thank you, senior brother, for your help. This is a bottle of snow wave pills. It is suitable for senior brother Li's current cultivation level. In the future, if senior brother has a need for pills, don't hesitate to bring spirit herbs to me. I will definitely ask master to refine them first." The cultivator happily thanked him. Chapter 147. Just as Lu Ping was about to enter the alchemy room, he suddenly paused, turned his head to look in the direction of the guard, and then entered the alchemy room. Sure enough, it was him. Lu Ping slowly withdrew his spiritual sense. The person who was talking to the guard at the entrance was Tao Zifang, whom Lu Ping had met at the entrance of the alchemy pavilion. Lu Ping had already seen some clues from the alchemy boy. When the pill-testing Taoist saw the boy bring out the 2 cylindrical artifacts, the pill-testing Taoist glanced at the boy, causing the boy to be covered in sweat, so Lu Ping took note of it. Sure enough, after that, he had to refine 2 kinds of high-difficulty pills, and the guard gave him all kinds of difficulties, until the person behind the scenes, Tao Zifang, appeared. Lu Ping was slightly surprised. Looking at the narrow alchemy room in front of him, the floor was engraved with array formations, connected to the fire-gathering plate in the middle. This should be the fire-gathering array to absorb the earth fire. Above the fire-gathering plate was a low-grade alchemy furnace. The carvings on the furnace were mostly worn, obviously due to frequent use. Lu Ping sat cross-legged in front of the alchemy furnace, recovering his mind. This was the first time Lu Ping used a low-grade alchemy furnace and an ordinary earth fire to refine pills. Although Lu Ping did not have anyone to guide him in alchemy, his starting point was high, using a middle-grade alchemy furnace and a heaven and earth spiritual fire. This time was also a challenge for him. After Lu Ping adjusted his state of mind, he took a deep breath and surged his arcane energy. His hands formed 9 seals in a row, and the flame-gathering plate in front of him suddenly spewed out a pale blue flame, raising the temperature in the alchemy room. Lu Ping used his spiritual sense to feel the characteristics of the earth fire. Not only was the temperature difference too big, the flame also lacked an indescribable sense of spirituality. Lu Ping had to spend a lot of energy to control this earth fire for alchemy. This was the difference between an ordinary flame and a heaven and earth spiritual fire. The preheating of the alchemy furnace, the melting of the spiritual herbs, refining, fusing, and finally the pill formation, the time spent far exceeded the time Lu Ping normally needed. Correspondingly, Lu Ping's consumption of spiritual sense and magic power was also greatly increased. After a whole 2 days, Lu Ping finally formed 18 seals. The low-grade alchemy furnace rumbled. Suddenly a medicinal fragrance filled the room. Lu Ping waved his hand, opened the alchemy furnace, and took out 6,000 chance Dan from the furnace. Lu Ping sighed helplessly. It was only a 60% success rate. If he had a mid-grade cauldron and the azure spirit fire, he was confident he could raise the success rate to 80% or 90%. Lu Ping shook his head, throwing away these distracting thoughts, and started to prepare to concoct the scarlet blood Dan. Normally, when Lu Ping concocted late blood condensation pills, his success rate was only around 60 to 70%. Although Lu Ping felt that his pill concoction skills had improved greatly after successfully concocting the face-halting pill, the earth fire and the low-grade alchemy furnace negated this advantage, and Lu Ping only had a 50% chance of passing the test. Through the previous cauldron of 1,000 revolution pellets, Lu Ping had become more familiar with the earth fire and the low-grade cauldron. This increased his chances of winning. However, at the last moment, Lu Ping's divine sense was depleted, and the conflict between the fire elemental medicinal pellets and the water elemental medicinal pellets caused him to make a mistake. Hence, he only managed to obtain 4 scarlet blood pellets after opening the cauldron. On the contrary, Lu Ping heaved a sigh of relief. Although he had concocted many blood spirit pills, this was his first time concocting a fire attribute blood spirit pill. As expected, after resting, Lu Ping easily reached a 50% success rate when concocting the second batch of scarlet blood Dan. Lu Ping originally planned to concoct the rest of the 1,000 chance Dan spiritual herbs, but on second thought, these pills would be returned to the sect for free, and he wouldn't get anything out of it, so he gave up on this idea. In the back hall of the alchemy pavilion, the pill-testing enlightened master looked at the 6,000 chance Dan, 9 scarlet blood Dan, and 1 set of spiritual herbs that Lu Ping brought over. He nodded and praised, as expected of a pill master who can concoct quasi-master grade pills. Even with external interference, you can still be so relaxed. Finished speaking, the pill-testing enlightened master smiled meaningfully at Lu Ping, took Lu Ping's identity token, placed a restriction on it, and returned it to Lu Ping, saying, "With this restriction, you have the qualifications to be a pill master of our sect. Every year, you can purchase a certain amount of spiritual herbs, and the price is only 80% of the market price. However, if there is an urgent pill concoction mission, you will have to respond to the sect's call." Lu Ping nodded, saying, "It's my duty to work for the sect, but I still need to buy this year's spiritual herbs first." Back at Huangli Island, Lu Ping and Yao Yong and the others were in a lively atmosphere. When everyone heard that Lu Ping had become Lu Xuanling's direct disciple, they were all very envious and surprised. Zhong Jian said with a sour face, "In our group, other than senior brother Yao Yong and junior sister Shi Lingling, you were the only one who became a direct disciple the moment you became a disciple. Even junior sister Shi Lingling only became a direct disciple after 3 years. The rest of us are still disciples in name." Lu Ping smiled bitterly, saying, "Speaking of becoming a disciple, I heard from Master Xianling that I was recommended by his master, and his master is my master's Tao companion. However, I still don't know who this master is, I only know that his surname is Jiang." "Stupid." Shi Lingling interrupted, "Of course it's Master Jiang Xianling. Among the 7 masters of our sect's 3 truths and 4 spirits, the only one who can become Tao companions with Master Lu Xianling is Master Jiang Xianling." Lu Ping smiled, "Indeed, I guessed it was him, but that day I saw that master didn't seem to like to talk about Master Jiang, so I didn't dare to ask. When Yao Yong heard Shi Lingling's words, he was also curious and asked, I've heard senior brother mention that the 3 truths and 4 spirits before. It seems that my master, Master Chu Xuancheng, is the fire spirit of the 4 spirits, but I don't know the rest. Junior sister Shi, do you know who these 7 masters are? Shi Lingling shook her head, saying that the 3 truths and 4 spirits is the name of the 7 masters of our sect over 100 years ago. Now they are all in the late core forging stage, and most of the time they are in closed-door training or traveling, preparing to break through to the Dharma stage, so there are very few people who have seen them. I've only occasionally heard my father mention that Master Jiang is the head of the 3 truths, and Master Lu is the head of the 4 spirits, but I don't know the rest. After the crowd dispersed, Lu Ping immersed himself in his cultivation. After listening to enlightened Master Lu's lecture, Lu Ping had gained a lot from it. Lu Ping urgently needed to convert these gains into a breakthrough in his cultivation base. Therefore, other than the 5-day patrol on the ocean every month, Lu Ping spent most of his time in closed-door cultivation, cultivating and concocting medicinal pellets. Occasionally, he would come out of closed-door cultivation to ask Master Immortal Lu about some cultivation problems, or place some medicinal pellets he concocted in the Charms Pellet Pavilion. Then, he would ask Hu Lily and Fang Tao to purchase spirit herbs for him. This kind of enriching training continued for more than a year, and Lu Ping finally experienced the feeling of his cultivation advancing by leaps and bounds. Vigorous mana flowed throughout his body along with his bloodline, and Lu Ping felt that his bloodline was like a surging river, gathering all the mana in his body to his heart, where it condensed into strands of essence that seeped into the space in his heart, strengthening the condensed blood beads. Finally, the 5 condensed blood beads that were far larger than ordinary people's were filled to the limit. The Flood Dragon bloodline that occupied the absolute position once again developed its strength to the peak, and it began to sharpen its knives against the other bloodlines. This time, it devoured the Fire Attribute Cicada bloodline. When Lu Ping spat out the discarded Cicada bloodline, the 6th condensed blood bead in the space in his heart had already expanded from nothing to 1/3 the size of the original 5 condensed blood beads. He had finally reached the 6th layer of the Hemolysis realm. Lu Ping could not hide the joy in his heart. On this day, as soon as Lu Ping finished his training, Chen Lian came to find him. Chen Lian greedily breathed in the spiritual energy within Lu Ping's grotto mansion and praised, "Every time I come here, it is a form of enjoyment. Why do I feel that the density of spiritual energy here has increased again?" Lu Ping smiled. "You are quite sensitive. My master gave me a spirit-gathering pearl." Spirit-gathering pearl. No wonder. Chen Lian was a little surprised, but then he smiled and said, "My teacher's gift isn't bad either. It's a complete set of fire-controlling art. It's very useful for forging weapons. It's much stronger than the set of fire-controlling art that my teacher passed down to me." Only then did Lu Ping notice that Chen Lian had broken through to the 7th layer of the Hemolysis realm. He happily said, "So, senior brother has reached the late stage of the Hemolysis realm. Did Sage Enigma Flame accept you as his personal disciple? No wonder he gave you a fire control technique as a greeting gift." Chen Lian proudly nodded his head. "Hee, junior brother, you are not bad yourself. 6th layer. You are about to face the late stage." Lu Ping sighed. "How can I compare to you guys? We have been staying in the Yao Sea for 5 years. Everyone's cultivation has increased. Senior brother Yao Yong was the first to break through to the late stage, followed by senior sister Shi Lingling and senior sister Ling Qian. I heard that senior brother Du Feng, Zhong Jian, and Ma Yu are in seclusion to break through to the late stage. Now that you have broken through, we are holding you back." Chen Lian laughed and scolded, "Come on, who dares to say that you are a burden?" Among us, even Yao Yong, who has the highest cultivation, admitted that he is no match for you, let alone the others. Lu Ping chuckled and did not reply. "Right, do you have any more spirit-stained soil?" Chen Lian finally told him the reason for his visit. I do. Why? Are there a lot of people forging defensive artifacts recently? Lu Ping remembered that he had dug out a few thousand jin of spirit-stained soil from the secret ore vein not long ago. After refining it, it was enough for him to forge a few high-grade defensive artifacts. That's right. Chen Lian's face turned grim as he continued, in the past year, the situation in the demon territory has become even more tense. A large number of blood condensation realm demon beasts have begun to organize an organized counterattack against the cultivators that entered the demon territory. In the past, the human cultivators had the upper hand, but now, they are evenly matched. Although many cultivators have fallen, the survivors have reaped greater rewards. As the saying goes, fortune comes from danger. Hence, the number of cultivators entering the demon territory to hunt demon beasts has increased, and the demand for defensive artifacts has also increased. Chapter 148. The matter of the spirit ash soil is easy. I will bring you to a place later. But now that you are in the late stage of the blood condensation realm, you won't run out of energy to forge top-grade magic tools, right? When will my landslide be upgraded to a top-grade magic tool? Also, I am currently lacking a water attribute defensive magic tool. I will leave this matter to you. Lu Ping thought for a moment and smiled. Chen Lian shook his head helplessly and said, I will naturally keep the matter of upgrading landslide in mind. This is a test for me. But you better think of a way to forge your defensive magic tool yourself. Firstly, I don't have many water attribute top-grade spiritual materials with me, and I really don't have the time. Secondly, I heard that we will be going on a mission to the demon territory's territorial waters soon. If I want to forge it, I'm afraid I won't have enough time. After all, upgrading a magic tool and forging a new one are two different things. Lu Ping thought about it and agreed. But when he heard that Chen Lian was going to the demon territory's territorial waters, he hurriedly asked, What news did you hear? Chen Lian didn't answer his question. Instead, he asked, Do you still remember the time you bid for the water avoidance shield at the auction 6 years ago? Of course, Lu Ping remembered this. At that time, he was tricked by Li Ziming, but he used the spirit ash soil to retaliate. Chen Lian clearly wasn't talking about this. He said, During the auction for the spirit ash soil, my father interfered and raised the price of the spirit ash soil to a level that far exceeded its original value. We were in a hurry. Lu Ping knew that Chen Lian was going to say something he didn't know, so he listened attentively. Li Ziming knew that it was a trap, but he still spent a few thousand more spirit stones because he was preparing for the beast wave for the family. Beast wave? Lu Ping's expression finally changed. How did he know there would be a beast wave? Every beast tide is a disaster. Chen Lian said, Not only does the Li family know about this, but all the vassal families of Jinling also know about this. Once the Forbidden Sea is opened, there will be a beast tide in 10 to 15 years. Every beast tide is a blow to all the forces in the North Sea. Other than the top 10 sects of the North Sea, no other forces can guarantee their own safety, let alone a single cultivator. Therefore, once the Forbidden Sea is opened, all the small and medium forces start to prepare for the beast tide. Lu Ping calmed down and asked, How long does a beast tide usually last? 3 to 5 years. Chen Lian smiled mockingly and said, Actually, after the sea ban was lifted, the North Ocean cultivators swarmed in. To the demons, isn't it a human tide? The beast tide is just the demon race's counterattack. Both sides are evenly matched, and both sides will suffer heavy losses. Lu Ping was surprised. Could it be that the recent organized resistance of the demon race against the cultivators entering the demon territory is because of the beast tide? Chen Lian laughed and said, Of course it's related, but this is just a prelude. The demon race is so huge that it would take a long time for them to form a beast tide and launch a unified counterattack. Moreover, the demon race's forces are even more complicated, and they believe in strength above all else. This makes it extremely difficult for a beast tide to form in a short period of time. Our mission this time should be purely to kill the demon beasts and weaken their counterattack. At the same time, the sect needs income, right? Lu Ping nodded. He understood that this was a way for the sect to show off their strength. By suppressing the demon beasts and counterattacking, they would tell the North Ocean cultivators that the demon territory outside of Xian-Chi Island was still under Jinling's control. This would then attract more cultivators to come and form a virtuous cycle. When the beast tide arrived, a large number of cultivators would be able to replenish Jinling's defensive strength and reduce Jinling's losses. Lu Ping secretly brought Chen Lian to the cave where he found the spirit-stained earth mine. Chen Lian was pleasantly surprised and said, "I didn't expect junior apprentice brother to have such a discovery. No wonder you have so much spirit-stained earth." "Then it's settled. I'll be responsible for mining this mine and use it to forge high-grade magic tools. We'll split the profits 50-50. Lu Ping shook his head and said, "It's true that I found the mine, but whether it's mining or forging, I can't help. I also don't have the time to care about these things. Just give me 30% of the profits." Chen Lian panicked and said, "Do you still want to take back your high-grade crafting furnace? If you do that, we won't even be brothers anymore." Lu Ping couldn't argue with Chen Lian and could only agree. However, he asked Chen Lian to pass all the profits from the spirit-stained earth mine to Hu Lili and Fang Tao so that they could help him purchase spirit herbs. 2 days later, Lu Ping had just finished concocting a batch of pills when he received a message from Master Immortal Lu. Master Immortal Lu wanted him to discuss the matter of sailing to the sea. After the Jinling exterminated the pirates disguised by the various sects, Huangli Island became more prosperous and its status rose again. Due to the increasing unrest in the Sea of Monsters, the number of Jinling blood condensation cultivators stationed on the island had reached 120. Other than the 30 early blood condensation cultivators who were responsible for the daily management of the island, the remaining 90 mid and late blood condensation cultivators were divided into 6 teams. Each team was led by 3 late blood condensation cultivators, and each team was responsible for patrolling the sea for half a month. The first team that Lu Ping belonged to was the strongest among the 6 teams. The leader of the team was one of the North Sea's 18 generals, Master Immortal Lu Ziyuan, a 9th-level blood condensation cultivator. When Lu Ping arrived, most of the people had already arrived. Lu Ping looked around and saw Master Immortal Lu Ziyuan sitting in the main seat. Lu Ping also recognized the 2 assistants beside him. One of them was Master Immortal Du Zisheng, who was with Group 7 when Jinling attacked Xian-Chi Island. Now, his cultivation had also reached the 8th-level blood condensation realm. The other person was Group 12's leader, Master Immortal Fang Xian, who made a bet with Master Immortal Lu during the side courtyard competition. Below them were Yao Yong, Du Feng, Shi Lingling, Ling Qian, and Chen Lian, the 4 7th-level blood condensation cultivators. Du Feng had also broken through, and Lu Ping was quite envious of him. Before this, Lu Ping's cultivation was the fastest. Zhong Jian and Ma Yu were still at the peak of the 6th-level blood condensation realm, but the essence qi smoke above their heads seemed to be condensing around their bodies. It was obvious that their essence qi was about to condense into astral energy. They were only a step away from the late stage of the blood condensation realm. Behind them were Hu Lili, Niu Dazhuang, and Jing Jie. They were all at the 5th-level blood condensation realm. There was one person who surprised Lu Ping. This person was Zhang Zicheng, who used to be in the same group as Lu Ping. He was also at the 5th-level blood condensation realm, but he was called Zhang Zicheng now. Jinling's blood condensation cultivators all had the word Z in their names. Including Lu Ping, the first team had a total of 15 people. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Master Immortal Lu Ziyuan said, "Ever since the sea ban was lifted, our sect has been organizing a large-scale hunt in the demon territory every year. This year is no exception, but the scale will be even bigger. Everyone's interest was piqued by Master Immortal Lu's words. Master Immortal Lu continued, more than a year ago, after the demon race ambushed Xian Ling sect, Western Tomb Island, and overflowing sea gang cultivators, the battles between the demon beasts and human cultivators in the demon territory have become more and more intense. Therefore, the North Sea Alliance has coordinated with all the sects to organize a large-scale hunt against the demon beasts. We want to completely suppress the demon beast's arrogance and delay or even reduce the time and damage caused by the demon beast wave. Master Immortal Lu's words were filled with excitement, and everyone was eager to give it a try. Master Immortal Feng smiled and said, "Everyone, don't be too excited. The demon territory is dangerous and unpredictable. Everyone must be careful and pay attention to your own safety." Master Immortal Du also added, cultivators participating in this hunt can purchase the items they need from the sect at half price. However, a third of the harvest from this hunt will be donated to the sect free of charge. The rest is up to everyone. Of course, I hope that everyone will prioritize selling the items to the sect first. Seeing that everyone understood, Master Immortal Lu said, "We'll set off in 7 days. Everyone, make the best use of this time to prepare everything. This concerns everyone's lives, so you must be careful." After everyone left, they discussed what they needed to prepare and where they could purchase the items. Lu Ping remembered that he still had 3 chances to enter the blood condensation blood vault after he arrived at Fei Ling Island. Because he didn't have anything that he urgently needed, he decided to postpone these 3 chances to a later time. Right now, Lu Ping urgently needed a defensive artifact, so he could see if there was anything suitable. When he arrived at Tian Ling Mountain's blood condensation blood vault again, Lu Ping was told that he only had 2 chances left. Lu Ping hurriedly asked for the reason. The late blood condensation realm cultivator guarding the blood condensation blood vault smiled. "We're afraid that disciples like you will come and take advantage of us. When you're in the early blood condensation realm, you can only use 1 high-grade artifact at most. If you wait until you're in the late blood condensation realm to exercise your right to choose, won't there be only a few top-grade artifacts left? That's why when you're in the early blood condensation realm, you can only choose 3 artifacts when you're in the mid-blood condensation realm. By then, you'll only be able to choose 1. Lu Ping had no choice but to choose a water attribute top-grade defensive artifact from the blood condensation blood vault, Cloudy Sky. This was a cloud-shaped artifact. When activated, it would form a cloud above one's head, blocking out all light. Hence, it was named Cloudy Sky. The top-grade artifacts in the blood condensation blood vault weren't the best. According to Chen Lian, due to various reasons, the top-grade artifacts here basically didn't have much potential to improve. Moreover, top-grade artifacts with the potential to become magic treasures weren't usually kept in the blood condensation blood vault. However, Lu Ping didn't mind. He didn't plan on using these artifacts to forge magic treasures in the future. It was just a transition. With one last chance left, Lu Ping decided to choose a concealment secret art. Among Lu Ping's 12 absolutes of the North Sea, although the Art of Sea Deception and Art of Traveling Through Clouds and Summoning Rain both had concealment effects, these 2 arts were mainly offensive techniques. The concealment effect was secondary and had many limitations. In the past, Lu Ping had to use his powerful divine sense to bring out the concealment effect. Lu Ping had been hunted down several times. A high-grade concealment technique would undoubtedly have many uses. Escape, tracking, sneak attacks, and ambushes. Lu Ping naturally coveted it. Unfortunately, although there were many such secret techniques in the blood condensation bank, none of them satisfied Lu Ping. Lu Ping couldn't help but shake his head regretfully when he thought back to Master Xian Yin and his disciples' elusive concealment technique during the apprenticeship ceremony. Fortunately, Lu Ping still managed to find a related incomplete secret art. Chapter 149. This secret technique didn't have any concealment function, but it could conceal Lu Ping's true cultivation level, causing other cultivators to misjudge Lu Ping's cultivation level through their divine sense. This was a special secret technique used to disguise oneself as a pig to eat a tiger. The cultivation of this secret technique was very demanding. First, it required a strong divine sense as the foundation. The stronger the divine sense, the tighter the concealment of one's cultivation level. Second, it required the cultivator to cultivate a pure elemental cultivation technique, and the purer the spiritual energy, the better the effect of the secret technique. Lu Ping's divine sense was as strong as a 9th-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. In fact, it was even stronger than an ordinary 9th-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. After all, the divine sense had many uses, and many cultivators cultivated secret techniques to strengthen their divine sense. According to the secret technique, Lu Ping could conceal his cultivation level at least at the early blood condensation realm without being detected by late blood condensation realm cultivators. This made Lu Ping very satisfied. After all, he also cultivated the soul-splitting technique. If he succeeded, even a core-forging enlightened master wouldn't be able to see through his spirit concealment technique. After leaving the blood condensation realm, Lu Ping went to Chonghua Manor to visit enlightened Master Lu. When enlightened Master Lu saw Lu Ping's improvement, he gave him a few words of encouragement. When he heard that Lu Ping was going to participate in the sex hunting mission, he gave him a jade talisman. Lu Ping took it and saw that it was a talisman treasure. Enlightened Master Lu said, "This is a talisman treasure I casually made 100 years ago. I'll give it to you to protect yourself." Lu Ping thanked him. When he saw that there were 7 white clouds surging inside the jade talisman, Lu Ping suppressed the joy in his heart and asked Enlightened Master Lu some questions. At this moment, Enlightened Master Lu's expression suddenly changed, and he turned his head to look at the peak of Tianling Mountain. Lu Ping saw the change in Enlightened Master Lu's expression. For a moment, it was incomparably complicated. He didn't know what was going on. He followed Enlightened Master Lu's gaze and looked towards the peak, only to discover that the Tianling mountain peak, which was usually shrouded in clouds and mist, had suddenly formed a huge vortex. The vortex formed a huge funnel, and there was a faint rumbling sound coming from the center of the vortex. Lu Ping's divine sense was sharp. He could faintly sense that the surrounding spiritual energy was becoming thinner, and the direction of the spiritual energy flow was towards the peak of Tianling Mountain. The huge change in the sky immediately alarmed the cultivators on Heaven Spirit Mountain. Many cultivators came out of their cave mansions and stared at the huge spiritual energy whirlpool at the peak of Heaven Spirit Mountain, trying to guess what was going on. Could it be that someone had made a breakthrough, and it happened at the peak of Tianling Mountain? Just when the Chonghua mansion was in a state of silence, the void beside Enlightened Master Lu trembled, and a sound-transmitting magic sword suddenly appeared in front of him. Enlightened Master Lu ignored the dumbfounded Lu Ping. He took the magic sword and bowed slightly. After examining it, he said a few words and sent the magic sword into the rippling void beside him. After that, the space calmed down. Enlightened Master Lu Xianling looked at the bewildered Lu Ping and said calmly, "It's our sex Laozu practicing a new divine power at the peak of Tianling Mountain, and he accidentally caused a huge commotion." Lu Ping let out an "oh," and said enviously, "Fa Xiang Laozu. Divine power is indeed earth-shattering." Enlightened Master Lu didn't comment. Although Lu Ping couldn't see anything, he felt that the sky at the peak of Tianling Mountain was definitely related to his master. However, since his master didn't say anything, as his disciple, he couldn't ask. At this moment, 5 rays of light flew in from outside the Chonghua mansion. After landing, it turned out to be Li Xuanru, Zhao Xuanji, and Wang Xianjing, the 3 core forging stage senior sisters, and 2 in-name disciples. After the 3 landed, it was obvious that they had something to say, but they saw Lu Ping. Without waiting for the 3 to speak, Enlightened Master Lu said first, "Inform the disciples that it was our sex Laozu practicing his divine power at the peak of Tianling Mountain." All disciples should practice diligently, there's no need to panic. The 5 nodded and sent out sound-transmitting talismans to inform the disciples. The 5 senior brothers and sisters already had the qualifications to open a mansion and accept disciples. Lu Ping took the opportunity to give 3 bottles of face-retaining pills to the 3 senior sisters and said, "These are the face-retaining pills I refined in the past year. I was planning to send them to the 3 senior sisters today. Now, it'll save me the trouble of traveling." The 3 senior sisters happily accepted the face-retaining pills and thanked Lu Ping. Lu Ping knew that the senior sisters still had something to discuss with his master, so he took his leave. When Lu Ping left the Chonghua mansion, the commotion caused by the sky at the peak of Tianling Mountain had already calmed down. Obviously, everyone had received the notice from the sect's higher-ups about Laozu practicing his divine power. Lu Ping looked at the remaining 14 face-retaining pills in his storage ring and sighed inwardly. Sure enough, pill refiners were the wealthiest among the cultivators. Normally, when a cultivator asked a pill refiner for a bottle of blood condensation realm pills, they would need to prepare 2 sets of spirit herbs for a bottle. If it was a late blood condensation realm pill, it was normal for some pill refiners to ask for 3 sets of spirit herbs. After the pill refinement was completed, the pill refiner would gladly accept the excess. In order to refine a bottle of core forging realm pills, cultivators would usually need to prepare 3 to 4 sets of spirit herbs for the pill refiner. For avatar realm pills, it was no longer a matter of how many sets of spirit herbs there were. Due to the scarcity of spirit herbs, Laozu would usually gather enough spirit herbs and ask the pill refiner to refine it. Even if only 1 pill was refined, Laozu would have to thank the pill refiner and prepare enough gifts. The status of pill refiners among the cultivators was obvious. After the apprenticeship ceremony, some well-informed cultivators came to Lu Ping and asked him to refine pills for them. However, Lu Ping didn't want to delay his cultivation because of pill refinement. Moreover, Lu Ping's cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds at that time, so he used seclusion as an excuse to reject all requests for pill refinement. He would only help his good friends like Chen Lian and Yao Yong, or his 3 senior sisters from the same sect. Lu Ping's 3 senior sisters knew that Lu Ping hadn't reached the level of a master, so they each prepared 4 sets of spirit herbs for Lu Ping to use to hone his pill refinement skills. 4 sets of spirit herbs had a success rate of 30%, and the remaining 8 sets had a stable success rate of 40%. Apart from the 3 bottles of 30 pills he gave to his 3 senior sisters, he still had 14 pills left. Including the pills he refined for his teacher, Lu Ping still had 18 pills on him. Lu Ping didn't use the pills himself. After all, after reaching the late stage of blood condensation, his lifespan was close to 300 years. This way, he could maintain his 20-year-old appearance until he was 60 years old. It would be a waste to use the pills now. After returning to Huangli Island, Lu Ping immediately went to Chen Lian's smithing shop. He wanted to upgrade his landslide to a top-grade magic tool in 3 days. This way, his strength would increase by another level. Landslide already had a total of 9 seals. This was the limit of a high-grade magic tool. If he wanted to upgrade it to a top-grade magic tool, he would need to fuse all 9 seals together. This would require the magic tool to be of an extremely high quality. Chen Lian ordered Lu Ping to purify the melted rank 2 mutated spirit material, deep-sea silver iron, using his arcane energy. This way, after being contaminated with Lu Ping's arcane energy, Lu Ping would be able to use it smoothly. This would lay a solid foundation for upgrading landslide to a magic tool in the future. Lu Ping remembered that he learned the spirit fire smelting purification technique in the smithing hall of Fei Ling Island. Since he didn't know any purification techniques, he could only use the dumbest method of purifying his arcane energy. He wouldn't lose anything if he used what he learned now. To ensure the quality of the purification, Lu Ping did it alone. Naturally, Lu Ping didn't want the earth fire that Chen Lian used to purify his spirit material. He took out the blue spirit fire and followed the requirements of the spirit fire smelting purification technique to purify the deep-sea silver iron bit by bit until he was familiar with it. Then, he used his arcane energy and started to purify the mutated deep-sea silver iron. In the end, the large piece of deep-sea silver iron shrunk by 3/4. The liquid was pure silver without any impurities. When Lu Ping called Chen Lian in, Chen Lian looked at the exhausted Lu Ping and the puddle of pure deep-sea silver iron and cursed, "Pervert." Lu Ping urgently recovered his arcane energy and then helped Chen Lian to fuse, landslide, with the deep-sea silver iron. At the same time, he connected the 9 arcane energy restrictions to form a cycle and become a whole. Under the activation of Lu Ping's arcane energy, the original grayish-black iron seal turned into a warm silver jade color. The domineering and solemn appearance also became reserved. Lu Ping held the 3-inch cube in his hand and played with it. He loved it so much that he couldn't put it down. After successfully upgrading Landslide, Lu Ping hurried to Elder Chen's crafting shop on Dikuan Island and took a simple and unadorned jade pendant from Elder Chen. This jade pendant was made by Lu Ping using the top-grade spirit material Millennium Cold Jade given to him by his second senior apprentice sister Li Xianru as the main body. He also combined the high-grade and top-grade water attribute spirit materials he had collected over the years and asked Elder Chen to refine it into a top-grade auxiliary arcane artifact. This arcane artifact didn't have any offensive or defensive functions. It only had the effect of calming one's mind, gathering spiritual energy, and preventing qi deviation. Lu Ping hung this jade pendant on his waist and immediately felt his whole body become spirited. When he operated his arcane technique, the absorption and recovery of spiritual energy became a little faster. His whole body seemed to have an extra layer of ethereal aura. In the end, Elder Chen's crafting skills were still more experienced. Although Chen Lian had fused the strong points of 2 schools and had greater potential, compared to Elder Chen, he was still too inexperienced. 7 days later, Lu Ping and the rest gathered in Huangli Island's meeting hall. At the same time, the other 5 patrol teams were also present. Everyone was in high spirits and was ready to set off. At this time, Lu Ziyuan and a dozen late blood condensation cultivators escorted a man in his 30s into the meeting hall. Everyone looked at this man, but they couldn't find any trace of a cultivator on him. The man walked to the center of the meeting hall and looked at the cultivators around him. He smiled and said, "My name is Yang Xuanmu. For this hunting mission, I will be the backup for Huangli Island. Everyone can fight the demonic beasts without worry. You don't have to worry about the monster enlightened master's revenge." When everyone heard that there was an enlightened master as backup, their faces lit up with joy. Enlightened Master Yang Xuanmu continued, "Recently, a group of demonic beasts has been wantonly killing human cultivators in the demon territory to collect blood and flesh. Their methods are extremely cruel. If you encounter them, you must capture and kill them. If you don't have enough strength, report to me immediately. I will dispatch the nearby cultivators to reinforce you. Do not let them escape." Even though enlightened Master Yang's voice was low, it was filled with killing intent. His voice rang in everyone's ears as if it had some kind of magical power. Lu Ping and the rest engraved it in their hearts, and their fighting spirit soared. Lu Ping had a premonition that they were going to set off a bloody storm in the demon territory.